house, very big house, gated, fenced, and all that. And they just dropped us there and turned back. So I was surprised, like, ah. So for the first time, and I had to ask the four ladies, the three other ladies that we left together, please, do you guys really know where exactly we are going to? Like, this whole thing is really looking blurry to me, and I don't understand anything anymore. And they're like, ah, even them too, they are even confused though. And to crown it up, they asked us not to talk to each other. They asked us not to say anything to each other. I don't understand. So I just looked everywhere and saw that, okay, there are batches and batches of people seated at different corners. Okay, so I really need to ask questions. So at that point, one Alhaji came out, like he's one in charge of that house, and then he did say, okay, let's look for something to eat. All through this while we are not eating, and he said we should fix something to eat, and they made one spaghetti that didn't have salt, and it was so very funny. Like, so I just summoned courage. I went to meet the Alhaji. I said, please sir, I need you to just be open and tell me what exactly is going on. Where am I, first of all? He said Duruku. I said, where is Duruku? He now said, how do I expect him to be able to explain that Duruku, that is what he knows, this place is Duruku. I said, okay, do you know where exactly I'm going to? Or do you know the person that brought me here? He was like, ah, maybe Libya you they go. I said, Libya. I said, I'm not going to Libya. He said, ah, I still say you be Johnny just come. Like, he said, you don't reach here. The only thing now for you make you they go the place where then they carry you, they go say they go come carry you tomorrow night. And he refused to say anything afterwards. So I went to sit down and relayed what he said to the other ladies. And everybody became very, very, very like upset and curious, like, okay, let's even find out. So just at that time, there was a lady in the particular room that had like 5 big bags, Ghana must go bags, big ones. So she said she was going back to Kano, that she stays in Kano. She sells gold and clothes. She speaks Yoruba. So she was explaining to one of the ladies. So that was the first instance where I started hearing information. And I just didn't want to believe. Honestly, I didn't believe at that point that maybe that is what we are in. But what she explained to the lady was that we are either being transported to Libya for prostitution or Italy. And then the lady said, she told her that no, the person that took us said we are going to Malaysia. And the lady now laughed and said that is what they will tell you, and that this is her 5th time going through this route. That was the same way she was deceived, but she ran away and was able to find someone who helped her, and eventually that was the person she got married to, and now they are doing like illegal business. She goes there, buys stuff, and goes back to Kano to go sell. So I said, no, it cannot be possible. Like, we all agreed that it cannot be possible, because that was not what they told us. Looking at what the first guy told us, what the magician guy told us, what the lady told us, that it cannot be possible, that maybe hers is a different kind of connection. So fast forward from there, they came to pick us the next night in a Hilux, arranged us, and we drove for like 3 days non-stop. Okay, we had 2 stopovers. The first stopover was in a very cold, white place. Like, I have never seen that kind of cold in my life before. I was shivering to the brain. Like, I just couldn't imagine why I was going through this. Like, if these people really want to help me, this is not a way to help someone. You cannot be helping someone and the person is in pain. So, but I couldn't really say much because I was already in it. So we drove for days, and on the 3rd day where we stopped was really looking like, I didn't know what to call the place. There were thousands of people, young ladies, guys, and they were calling it ghetto. This is ghetto. They were calling the particular ghetto. The ghetto had a name, and they said, okay, now we can go and have our bath. So for the first time after 7 days, we're going to 8 days, we're going to have our bath and have change of clothes. So first of all, my concern was to even just let me even have a bath first and find something tangible to eat. So they made rice, we ate. In the midst of eating, I started hearing conversations. So I said, okay, since they said we should not talk to anybody, no problem. I'm going to find out everything I need to find out, and if possible, go back from here. So during conversations, I heard people saying, they will tell you everything possible, that here it is Libya they're taking you to. You either go and work as a housemaid, or you go and work in connection house, all manner of things. And at that point, it really dawned on me that what that lady had said earlier was very true. So the other 3 ladies, 2 of them now came to meet me when I was sitting down. I like, see what I am hearing. I said, okay, even me too. I heard the same thing. And they're like, are we sure we want to continue this journey? So at that point, I was really upset with myself not to have verified whatever information I got. I started crying. I was in pain. Like, why will I be going through this? Like, no. Even if, for crying out loud, this is not help. This is like putting me in a pit where I can't talk, I can't communicate. Now there is no communication, nothing. So I looked around. We were there till the next day, and then there was this particular guy, Mohammed, that was giving out clothes, was calling out names and all. So I walked up to him and said, please, at this junction, I don't think I want to continue this journey. Can you help me? I want to go back home. And then he said, that what I just asked is very dangerous. That if it was yesterday when I came that I said that it would have been, maybe you can manage or think of how to go about it. That already the person that I'm being taken to knows I'm here. Whatever makes me not get to her, he has to be the one to pay for me. I'm like, pay for me as how? He said, somebody paid for you to be brought to her, and pay transit, they pay additional money just to be sure that the person is being carried along. And I was like, okay, so how much does it cost to get up to this point? And if I'm to go back from here, I can actually call them, tell them I don't want to continue this journey and I want to go back home. He said it's either of 2 things. It's either you get home or you don't get home. They might tell you to go. They'll either kidnap you and sell you to a place where you'll never be able to come out from, or they might even kill you. That he would advise me to just go and face my fate, but I should pray that whoever I'm going to go and meet is not a bad person. And I asked that, why did he say so? He said he cannot say anything more. That I'm here, and the only way forward is to move forward. I was like, okay. I was broken. I couldn't even tell the other ladies what he had said. I summoned courage to eventually see. So that night, they put us in a hillock. We're about 36 or 32 of us. And they made us sit in rows in the hillocks. So we drove for like 3 days. We had a couple of stopovers, but I was really choked up because I was seated back in the hillocks. So everybody's weight was resting on me, and it was hell for me. I couldn't breathe at some point. My legs were dead. I couldn't move. Even when we stopped, I took like minutes. Most of us took like minutes to even be able to stand up. And I was like, no. But even if I were to travel by road, he did say he was going to be at some point. At least by now, the traveling by road should have stopped. And that was so I remembered what the other guy said at the where we were, that there's no flight, anything. They deceived you. Everything they told you was just to cajole you to decide to go, that there is no flight anywhere. You're going by road to wherever you're going to. So at that point, I was just concerned with one thing, which is surviving and coming back home at all cost. So after the first stopover, I became sick a little bit. I started having too many issues. So I decided not to sit in the Hilux again. And then I had to sit at the edge on top of the tire box. And then I had a stick in between my legs. So they made ladies sit inside the Hilux, and then the guys would sit around the Hilux. But because of my previous experience, I had difficulties breathing. I said I wasn't going to sit inside the Hilux again, that I was going to sit at the edge. So I did sit on the edge of the Hilux and had a stick to hold on to, and we drove for another couple of days. The experience in the desert was, it's not sometimes when I think about it, I just smile. My smiling is not that, okay, I'm happy, but I wonder how I was able to pull through. I wonder how I was able to manage my health. I wonder how I was able to cope up mentally, emotionally, thinking about everything I had left back at home, everyone. I kept them in the dark. I didn't really say much. And then thinking about the people who deceived me, like, if you want to help someone, you should help someone and not even put them into more problems. So a lot of things were racing through my mind. I got so discouraged at my own life. I felt really bad that I was impatient. I didn't ask questions. Of all places, why would I be going to Libya to do what? Like, I wasn't even, I couldn't really define the feelings I had then. But at each point, what I always did was to just pray to God that, God, I know that I have done wrong not to have even, look out for my own self. But I'm asking for just one thing. Wherever I'm going to, make sure you take me back home, healed and healthy. So we had another stopover. I got beaten along the way by Arab men. I was trying to save someone from getting beaten wrongly, and I got the beating. Difficulty, there was no food, there was no water, the weather was, the sun would be shining and scorching, and the cold was extremely cold. Like, I couldn't really, there was no definition of everything that was going on. I was just bleak and blank. At the point, I was regretting every step from my friend. I started cursing, like, so she knew about this. That was why at the point she disappeared. She didn't really see anything. And even when I asked her about it, she pretended not to know anything about traveling. That this guy didn't tell her anything about traveling. But I'm like, but you introduced me to this guy, so it's not possible for him to come tell me something about traveling and you didn't know. I thought so far and wide to the point where I felt, okay, I know I'm not going to die. I know I'm not going to die. I know I will go back home, and I'm so going to fish these people out and really find out the reason why they ever did such to me. At some point, I became very ill. I had very bad cough because I refused to sit again at that point. We had sat for like 3 days. So all my ties were burnt and peeled from the sitting. And the Hilux, the speed at which the Hilux was moving was really high. It wouldn't stop. At a point, a guy fell off the Hilux and they didn't wait. They didn't wait. The drivers were so mean. We don't understand their language. They don't understand our language. So even when you're beckoning on them to say, oh, something is going on. There was a time a guy was throwing up. He was feeling, okay, I think it was about throwing up. So we're like, okay, maybe if he stops. We tried beckoning on them, and if they come out, the next thing they do is to probably hit you with something, saying all manner of languages we didn't understand. We couldn't speak to them. They couldn't speak to us. It was hell for me. So because my laps were peeled, I couldn't sit again. So I now stood behind the pavement of the main Hilux box. And then that journey was for 5 days. 5 days of cold, 5 days, as in I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. Like at some point, I would just cry and scream out loud. Like, I wish the sky could even feel my pain. Like, there was no definition to what I was going through. And I just kept crying and crying and crying. After crying, I'll console myself. You're just crying. You see everybody here. they also have one reason to cry. So they cannot shoulder you and tell you sorry. So you alone will have to shoulder your pain, and that hurt me so bad. Sometimes when people see me talk about the story and I'm not really showing so much emotions, they feel, oh, we're not too sure you went through this. I have said it like 1,000,001 times. It's something I went through, and I can imagine how I had to just tell myself that, come, you have a child back home that you love. You need to be alive to come back to her. That was my source of strength. And the life I really wanted for myself ever before embarking on that journey just kept me going, that I know one day I am going to eventually come back and say this story to people. So at that point, remembering and recalling everything, one question kept popping in my head: why will people not have any other thing to do other than to do a business where you transport people to an unknown country, you lie to them, you deceive them, you promise them heaven and earth, and then put them on a dangerous path where is either they make it or they don't make it, and you will not even tell them any of this. So I was bent on making it to wherever it is. I said to myself, no matter how wicked whoever it is I'm going to go and meet is, I'm going to come back home and know the reason why people really did this problem, this business. On getting to Sabah, Sabah is halfway into Libya. On getting to Sabah, we had a connection house where they put us. We met about 60 ladies in the room, and then the guys also had their room. And they kept adding us. They kept adding. And at a point, I counted, we were about 80 in that room, the ladies' room. The guys were about 40-something. The food was really bad. You know, having to make banku. Now, this is not even the original banku. This is the banku made with flour. Having to make flour like fufu. And then maybe they will serve like 20 plates down. And then everybody will now line up. By the time you're eating, it's as though you're eating stone, you're swallowing stone. The soup was so watery that you won't even, you're not. The very first day I was asking myself, like, I know I had challenges back at home, but my challenges were not so bad that I couldn't even eat a good meal. Like, this is not a meal. So the first day we had that in the night. The next day we had rice, very small portion of the rice was dried. You can imagine when you boil rice and then you open it, you put it in a plate and you just open it down. And because the weather is very cold, so anything you don't keep properly dries up. So by the time you're eating the rice and like it's like you're eating rubber. So at some point we just sit there crying out that no, this is not life. This is not, why are we having to go through this? I would cry every night. I would beg God that please, can I just vanish from here? Okay, at the point I was begging for death to come because it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. And within ourselves, some girls were like, they were really radical about it, and they were like, no, we need to tell them. It's either they change the way they are doing this food, or maybe we should even take up the cooking by ourselves. So I thought of it. I was like, okay, that's true. So if already I'm going through hell, and then food now has to be a problem. So we waited for the ghetto man, the person in charge of the ghetto, like, we waited for him to come. We kept shouting, when is he coming? When is he coming? We don't even know why we are here. We don't even know what we are doing here. So at that time, we had stayed a week. We don't know why we are being kept here. We don't know who even put us here. We don't even know anything. Nobody is saying anything. So when the connection man did come, we took turns to ask questions. I noticed everybody was just asking questions. Where are we going to? Where are we going to? And all. So I did ask him. I said, okay, first of all, why are we here? Do you have an answer, or do you know the reason why we are here? And then he said, you are here because you're being transported to your burger. And then we now asked, what is the meaning of a burger? He said the burger is the person that paid for you to be transported from Nigeria. So we're like, is that the reason why we are being given bad food? Like when you're given something to swallow and it's already hurting your throat, like practically almost everybody had sore throats from that banku. And it was like, okay, he doesn't know anything about the way the food was being prepared, but that this place is just a transit, and the reason why we are here is because the road is bad, there is war, and they cannot transport us. It's very risky, and that we might meet rebels on the way, and rebels, they either rape, kill, abduct. And we're like, okay, so for how long are we going to be here? He said doesn't know until the war is over. So if it takes 1 month, if it takes 2 months, but just know that for every food you are eating, for every extra thing you collect here, your money is piling up. It is your burger that is paying, and when you get to wherever you're going to, you have to work to pay your burger back. So we now, 5 of us volunteered to be cooking our food by ourselves, and we were there for extra 2 weeks and some days. In total, we were there for 3 weeks and 5 days. And then we started the journey to Libya. That was where I had a near-death experience. So we were somewhere, we were kept in a particular house where they locked us. There was no light, nothing. And then we were pressed. We had traveled, we had drove for like 2 days, and they put us there. So, but before we entered, we were already beckoning on this people that we want to ease, we want to ease. They didn't even want to listen. They were just pushing us like, how can you people just be pushing somebody like animals? We don't even know where we're going. Like, this is very unthinkable. So I held that urine for good 2 days. So the next morning when they came, now see they begging that please, we want to wee. So the man was, arrogantly, he was talking, and he went to get a gallon, like this aluminium gallon. We now looked at it that how a guy can pee in this, but how can a lady pee in this? And from the descriptions he was giving us, he meant that we shouldn't allow the pee to spill on the floor. So we said, okay, all the guys should pee first and the ladies would take turns to pee, which was what happened. And somehow pee actually spilled. So by the time he was coming back, when he opened the door, so the pee, pee wouldn't, and you can imagine pee that stayed, the smell, it was awful. He was angry. He went back, he went to get a stick, and he was holding like 3 different things. So I was wondering, what does this guy want to do? At that point, everybody had their heart in their mouth, because the moment you see them holding anything, they can hit you anywhere. They can hit you anywhere. So he was now asking who spilled pee on the floor. They were pointing to the wrong person. So I was just watching initially. They were pointing to and he was going to start beating her. So I was not like trying to say, no, she wasn't the one. You see, when that spring landed on my head, this spring they use in water closet. Very strong and thick. And all I knew that was going on was that I was screaming at the top of my voice with both hands on my head, because it actually hit me on my head. And when I gave birth, like 8 months, when I was 8 months pregnant, I fell in the bathtub and had a slit on my head from the tiles in the bathroom. So sometimes that part of the head still hurts. So when he hit that spring on my head, it was exactly on that spot, and he did it like 3 times. He kept hitting the spring on me. I remember crying till I didn't know what was going on. And for the first time, when they say people have transition, I always wonder. I knew I was just lost somewhere. I knew something was going on to my body. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what. I was just blank. But I could hear myself crying. I could hear myself crying, and I was just crying, as in, bitter tears. You cry bitter tears, and you just have to still be the one to tell yourself, you have to stop. So by the time I woke up, the other ladies were like, you need to see the way they were rejoicing, because they said they didn't believe I was going to still come back to life. That, yeah, the head was actually bleeding at that point. And at that point when I woke up, they had cleaned it, they had tried everything. I remember when they were pouring water on me. I remember when somebody was tapping me and everything. And I was like, they started explaining what actually happened. That the moment he hit that spring on my head the second time, I started screaming, and they noticed I was bleeding, and I cried, and I just went mute. And they were telling him that she's not talking, and the man just told them, bara, 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 and he went away. He said they were praying, they were begging God that this girl must not die. She has been like a source of strength to us. If she dies here, what's going to happen and all that. It actually took me 4 to 5 hours before I woke up. And at that point, I had lost strength, I had lost everything. So there was a lady we met in that place that had a phone. So that was the first time I had to beg her. I'm sure it was because as a result of what had happened, she did not allow any other person use her phone. They would normally not allow you use their phones. So I couldn't even tell my mom what I was going through, because there's no how she would hear my voice like that and not panic. And I know the kind of mother I have. So I called my boss that I had worked with in the FRSC and told him, this is what has happened to me. And I don't even know where. Yeah, we're in Trauna at that time. And he said, but why didn't you say anything before leaving? And then I told him that they told us not to say anything. The moment they say don't say anything, you should have known it was trafficking. I know that you're naive and you do not know anything, but you should have told me. Because he was now like a father to me. Even after I had stopped working with the FRSC then, he was like a father to me. He said he was going to try his best to see what he can do, but that still being on transit, there is probably little or nothing he can do at that point. So I'm sure he tried calling back, because the lady kept cutting a particular call. I wouldn't know, and I didn't want to disturb her. So at that point, I really cried. That was the only thing I could do. I just cried. Like, I have never suffered like this in my life before. Even if I'm to suffer anything, it shouldn't be suffering from a decision to have a better life. So long and short was, we got into Libya, and they kept hiding us. They lay us in hillocks, cover us with tarpaulin, hiding, running, making sure you're not seen. Number of choking, you have to be there, sometimes 3 hours, 2 hours. You won't be able to breathe. You can practically feel life leaving you. You're sniffing each other's air, and in the midst of all of this, some people will be fighting and quarreling and beating themselves. I just couldn't imagine why. And even in that, some people decided they wanted to go do this thing, like they wanted to travel this way. I didn't know anything like this existed. I didn't know anything of such even happens. Finding myself in it was like the biggest dream I never wish to have again. So, found ourselves in Libya, and the first thing they did, seeing Nigerian girls and women, I was like, okay, so finally, we have gotten to our destination. So, what's next? Entering that house, I knew this is going to be a big problem for me. Because already I was upset. I was ready to yell at anybody. And then the first thing they made us do was to strip ourselves. I was like, okay. So I did remember at some point in the journey where a particular guy. We met him somewhere, and he also gave us a hint of how it actually goes. He said they're taking you to the garage. And then I now asked, what is the garage? He said the garage is a place where they take Nigerian girls to. And that's the most common place that they take them to. And they're going to take you to the connection house. And what they do normally in a connection house is sex trade. So I said, no, me, I'm not going to do that one. He said, you will not have a choice. He said, they'll make life hell for you. You will not have a choice. So he now said that if eventually I get there and that is what it is, that I have an option to run away. But that is very risky. And then he did give me his number and said that I must not write that number anywhere. That if they see that number with me, they will beat the living daylight out of me, because they will know that I have contacted the burger as well. So he made me cram that number. Two of us, we crammed that number to be sure that we didn't forget the number. But you see all the experiences we went through afterwards. At a point, I couldn't even remember the number anymore. And then I remember what he said. He said, you just have to help yourself remain strong. And while they asked us to strip ourselves, I was like, for whatever reason, I'm coming to work for someone. Why would you ask me to strip myself? So they said this. They were searching. Maybe you have a number written somewhere in form of a tattoo, or maybe you wrote the number somewhere and you hid it in your clothes, or anything. They just wanted to be sure you didn't have any information whatsoever. They collected my phone, went through my phone, and that night they called us one after the other. So, what were you doing in Nigeria? And then I explained, and the man said, okay, now this is the woman and her husband. The man said, okay, I can see. And then the first question he asked me was, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I was dumb. Like, he said, you have something good doing. What are you doing here? I said, it was a friend though that said there's traveling opportunity, and said, there's no need to explain. You are here, you are here. Oh, no choice near. You only need to make sure you work on time and pay and get out of here. So the wife now asked, what did they tell you that you're coming here to do? I said, first of all, this is not where they told me I'm coming to, and they told me I'm going to be working in a hair factory and a restaurant. And then she laughed and said, that is not it. That this is what they do here. That did I see all those other girls outside? I said, yes. He said, what do you think they are doing? I said, I don't really know, but I saw a couple of girls sitting down. He said, they're working for their money. He said, that is the same thing you're going to do. And I was like, I don't understand. He said, yes, that's the same thing you're going to do. So the earlier the better for you. I bluntly refused, because this is that wasn't what I was told in Nigeria. And for no reason, why would I leave Nigeria to come to Libya, to come and prostitute with my body to make money? How much money do I want to make? So I felt that I was doing myself good by trying to be as open as possible. I was very plain and blunt, and then she just kept laughing. I was like, but yeah, nobody will tell you. So she said, okay. And the same thing with every other girls, because we had agreed that, okay, if eventually we find out that that is what we're actually being taken there to do, that we are not going to agree to it, because that was not the agreement. And for whatever reason, we cannot just decide to leave Nigeria and go and prostitute somewhere. So she was like, she knows that girls that they just bring from Nigeria are very stubborn, that she will give us 3 days to go and decide. But in that 3 days, we should be watching at the other girls to see how they actually go about what they do. And the first day went by, second day went by. I vowed to myself, I said, nowhere in heaven's name will I live this kind of a life. Like, it was so absurd. I was grieved, I was bitter, I was angry, all manner of words, because looking at all the experience in the journey, I almost died, and then all for what? To come here and come and use my body to work to pay someone. I'm like, it didn't make sense. I cried every minute I remembered. And on the third day, she did call us to ask us if we were ready. I told her that she has to look for another job for me. And then she said, okay, since I don't want to take it easy, since I don't want to take it the easy way, that they'll show me how they also go the hard way. So that night, we didn't even know what she meant. That night, a girl was brought in, and we watched more than 5 people beat that girl black and blue. Wow. She had also refused the connection house where she was taken to. She had also refused to do the same connection house job. It was actually a burger that brought her, but they took her somewhere else. So they said she was being stubborn where she is, or where she was, and then they brought her back to the burger. Madam, come and take your girl, give us back our money. She said she knew the work. They beat that girl to stupor. They beat her to the point where I sat where I was and I told myself, I said it out, like, these people are not humans. Like, why? On seeing the way they beat that lady, I was like, so I will also come to this point where they will have to beat me to say, yes, I will do it. I said I would rather die. Because at the point when they beat her, she was like, okay, Mashe, I will do it, I will work, I will do it. I was like, so this is what I will go through. So for some reasons, I didn't know, they took the other 3 ladies out of where I was. It was now left with only me in that house that came together. So after a week, she then asked me that, what else can I do? I said, I cook. She was like, okay. She gave me pepper and oil. I said, go and make stew with it. I made the stew. She told them to teach me how to make banku. I made the banku. She was like, okay, not bad for a start. So first of all, your first job here is you're going to be cooking for everybody. My heart was like, okay, finally she has agreed to give me something else. So another week went by and she said, Orobo, I don't know where one day she just called me by that name and said, for her, that is what she will be calling me. Although she gave me another name, Success. So everybody calls me Success, but she calls me Orobo. And then she looked at me and said, Orobo, are you ready to work now? I was dumbfounded and I couldn't say anything. And in my head, I was like, if it is to die here, I think I'm ready to do that. But to use my body here, I will not. So 3 weeks went down. And all of these weeks, nobody even came in one day to say, this person, how she be, who she be, and all. So after the 3rd week, a man came in, a matured Nigerian man, a Yoruba man. He came in and did ask to take me home. And at first she refused, that she wasn't going to let him take me home, but he begged and all of that. So when we got home, he sat me down and said, I didn't bring you here to come and sleep with you. I brought you here to teach you one lesson that will help you if you must live where you are. He said he noticed the way I was being questioned, the way I was being bullied and all that. That is the way the woman does. And that I'm even still seeing the better side of her. That she's a really, really hard person. And when she's ready to go hard, she goes all the way. He said, you see where you are, there's no shortcut. There is no way out other than for you to actually make money, pay them before you leave. And if you are not even careful, you'll be done paying them, you will not know, you'll still be there playing a fool working for them. So you have to be smart. I see that you are innocent, but then yet you are smart. So I need you to wake up that smart instinct in you and know what to do to live there as soon as possible. He said he was going to be going to Italy in 3 weeks. From that time, that was the reason why the woman refused to give me to him initially, because normally that is the way some men will come there, take girls and they run away with them and they don't eventually get their money. So he said, but he's going to teach me how to make it fast. That if I work with my body to pay them, they'll split that money in 2. But if I'm doing something extra to pay them, they would record the money just the way it is. Say, for example, I sleep with someone and the man pays me 5,000 naira. They're not recording 5,000 naira. They're recording 2,500. But if maybe I sell something or I save up money and I give them that same 5,000 naira cash at hand, they'll record the 5,000 naira for me. So the best for me is to think of something I can start doing to get extra money, which is begging. So when these guys come, I have to beg them for extra penny. Or if they ask for anything beyond what I'm supposed to give them, like in normal duty, then I should ask for extra cash. Those extra cash are the extra stipends I'm supposed to be saving up to give them. I cried my ass out that night. So he said, you see, she's even giving you grace. He said, it's because she likes you. That this woman, she's naturally not the patient type, and the moment you're proving hard, she'll go hard with you and you'll give up. So the earlier the better for you. But he felt that he should just reach out to me and teach me something that would help me. So I eventually spent 2 years and 9 months in Libya altogether. I spent a year and 8 months in the connection house, and that a year and 8 months was hell for me. So after 7 months, I tried reaching out. So at the point they released a phone for the girls in the house to call their customers, to know when they're coming, to know if you're having someone who is coming to come and sleep with you over, or someone who is going to come and take you out and all. So I begged one of the girls in charge one day to allow me buy airtime on the phone to call. So I did call my dad, and my dad was really bitter, and he said the only way he knows I can get out of that place is for me to find my way to the Nigerian embassy and tell them that I want to come back home. So I waited for 3 days to actually get that report, because he didn't know what to do at that point. He said, okay, can I call you back? So I said, I don't know, but I'll try and talk to the person in charge of this phone so that whenever you call, they give me the call to answer, which was what actually happened. And somehow, I don't know how they got to know, but they found out that I called the Nigerian embassy, and they beat hell out of my life. They beat hell, everybody in the house. Plus, at that time, my burger wasn't in Libya. At that time, she was in Nigeria. It was the husband that was at home. Then the husband beat me. All the girls in the house beat me. So I wanted to run away. Oh, I'm trying to be smart and this and that. After all, they knew that from the very first day I came, the woman was calling me a virus because she knows that I'm kind of smart. I will try to play smart. So from that time, they locked me out from phone. They stopped allowing me go out. It was I can't start recounting experiences, day-to-day activities, how I felt. At some point, I would just practically pray that, God, please, when I sleep this night, don't allow me wake up in the morning. I slept very late, and I'm always the first to wake up. So after a while, I started gaining confidence, like, no, even if I foolishly allowed myself into this, I should be able to still bring myself out of it. So I changed my attitude and started being very smart. I called up as much information as I could. I got to, I became very nice. I always learned lessons, and, I was trying my possible best to see beyond the problem I was in and was already thinking of a way out. So I had a couple of guys who would just naturally like me, and they would tell me, you see, when you're ready to leave this place. Some guys went as far as asking, okay, madam, how much is this girl's money? Let's pay. She would intentionally double the money and make them run away. So when she did that the first time, the second time, I just knew that, okay, so this woman is actually being wicked. But not to worry, I'm actually still going to live here. So when it was about a year and 5 months, I sat down one day and calculated how much I had paid, minus all the subtraction. If you do anything, she'll beat you and subtract your money. Maybe 50 dinars, maybe 100. If you quarrel with anybody, maybe 200 dinars. If you fight, maybe 500 dinars and all. So by the time I calculated and I saw that the money had gotten up to like 5,000 dinars, which was actually what that man told me. He said normally it's supposed to be 2,500 dinars, but burgers are always wicked. They want to collect even double of that. So sometimes you have to pay up to like 5,000 to 6,000 dinars before they will let you go. And some will still not let you go, except you fight for your freedom. So when I calculated, and I had calculated about 7,000 dinars, I was like, okay, I think my time here is up. And then I started asking for freedom. She initially refused and said that I was not done paying her. So I said, okay. So in 2016, when she was going to come to Nigeria in September, she gave me freedom in August. That was a year and 8 months. She said, okay, that now I am free to work for my own money. But whatever money you're working, the same way they were splitting in two, it's just that this other half now, instead of them collecting it, they'll give it to you. Sometimes they may not even give it to you. They'll tell you to keep it with them. Maybe you want to send some money to Nigeria. So I said, okay, no, that I didn't want to keep it with them, that I actually wanted to live there. She said, I cannot live there until she comes back. I have to wait for her to come back to Libya because she had had a new child and she wanted to come home. I said, okay. So throughout that month, that September, I kept having dreams that if I don't leave that place, I probably might not have my life again. The dream came like about 5 to 6 times, and then I just summoned courage to open up to the husband, to tell him that I think I'm very sick and I want to go take care of myself. This is about a year and 9 months now. From the day one up until now, I worked every day and slept nothing more than 3 to 4 hours, that I needed to take care of myself. And he understood with me, because several times in between I had fallen sick, like so bad that at some point it took drips to like resuscitate me back and all. And the man also knew that I was very, very hardworking. Like at the point, he would always tell the wife, stop beating this girl. Like, you need to stop, even if you're beating every other person, but you see this one, stop beating her. And the next thing is, she will say, oh, okay, so now you're sleeping with my husband. My husband is fighting for you. This, that. I know you are hardworking, but you must be sleeping with my husband for him to be fighting me to stop beating you. And then she will intensify whatever thing she was doing. So, but I kept bearing them up. At that point, I made up my mind. So there's this Ghanaian guy who had already told me that whenever I'm ready, that he had an apartment he doesn't really stay in, that he goes to the village to work. Sometimes he doesn't come home 2-3 months, that he could give his space up for me to stay there, take care of myself. So when I did mention to him that I wanted to go and that I was sick, he did say, okay, that I should call the wife and tell her, which I did. And then she was like, so I cannot wait for her to come back. I told her that no, I can't wait, that I'm very, very sick and I needed to go take care of myself. She said, okay, I should hand over the account to the husband and I can leave, which I did. That was in October 2016. I did that in October 2016. In November, sorry, that was November 2016. I did that in November 2016. I had barely stayed a month in the new house where I was staying. I'd stayed a month and I was taking treatment, eating well and all that. And I heard she came back. She did actually call me to come and cook for her, but I refused going. And then on the 2nd of January in 2017, there was a massacre in the garage. The massacre was bloody. I think they were counting 300 bodies and they were still counting, as at the time we got the news. The bombing and from where I was, it's not so far a distance, it's a bit far. we could hear the bombs, we could hear the gunshots. Part of the things we face like every day, you don't sleep, like gunshots. There are some bombs that you practically feel like the house is going to be uprooted from the ground. There was a day that we were running and a stray bullet passed by my side, brushed my leg. Like, I don't know how I escaped. I don't know how I escaped, but you know, it was just God that was just protecting me all through. And at that point in January, when that massacre happened, like 6 girls in that house actually died. And for me, I felt, oh, this is God just saving me. I guess this is what God was talking to me about when I kept seeing those dreams, and I made up my mind I was going to just go back home. Um, 2 months out of there, I called a friend and told her that if there was a way she could help me find money, I needed to come back home. And she was the one that told me about the voluntary return, that I needed to find my way to the UN's office or whichever way and all that. So I remembered contacting the Nigerian embassy. So I did keep the number. So I then asked questions because I was now going to a church. I then asked questions and they said, okay, that I needed to get to the IOM office. I had challenges locating them in the first place, but eventually I got to the IOM office and then they gave me a date to come back to visit. I did drop all my information and then they said, okay, that in 2 weeks' time I should go to the Nigerian embassy to go get a travel document. And after getting a travel document, they will not let me know when to come back and I'll be ready to go to Nigeria. So that was all. And up until then, I just kept managing, kept believing God that it was going to work well. And eventually it did work well, and that was how I came back to Nigeria. August 28th in 2017. And for me, that was the best decision I could make. Though it was painful that I just went to suffer my life out for almost 3 years and no gain, nothing, and then I'm back, having to come back empty-handed. And up until today, both the travel agent, both the guy that introduced me to the travel agent and the lady, none of them has been found. And life hasn't been easy getting back to my feet. Like, I was in bad depression for like almost 2 years. It was really bad coming back to see that, okay, first of all, I have lost money, I have lost friends, I have lost business, and then having to resume my motherly duties almost immediately because children wouldn't hear, oh, I had a bad experience. And then having to reintegrate back into the community, it was really difficult. Like, it just took the grace of God, and it took my kind of strong personality to just keep resuscitating me, and I just kept believing that I'll definitely be who I really wanted to be. I didn't really need to think about the pain, but then the lesson can never be forgotten. The experience can never be forgotten. The trauma, the pain, and everything can never be forgotten. But then one thing can be done, which is moving ahead and making use of all the experiences. And then I did find answers to my quest as to why people did trafficking as a business. And I think that apart from poor economy, some people are just ignorant and they don't really care. They just can do anything just to make money.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Everyone talks about getting their dream jobs, but what does it take to get that dream job? In a religious society like Nigeria, some people resort to prayer, but did you know that sometimes the only reason you're not getting the job isn't because you don't have the credentials? Many times about how well you can defend your credentials through your presentation and communication skills during the interview. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the rate of unemployment in Nigeria rose to 33.3% in December 2020 from a 27.1% in 3 months. Interview phobia is a major issue that contributes to unemployment in the country. Some individuals are employable but don't know how to express themselves properly, present their resumes, and network effectively. An expert spoke to us about interview phobia and how it has increased the rate of unemployment within the country.
Okay, so I mentioned I struggled. I went to Lagos State University, public university. Nobody taught you any of these things. And so I thought that if I come to the interview space, I would do well because I know I'm good enough. But coming in, it was difficult. I got plenty of rejections, and I made up my mind that if you can get past this thing, you would help other people who are also like you. And so sitting down in that space, I also see people like me, and I feel for them.
According to Student Graduate Report, more than 50% of graduates in Nigeria disclose that communication skill is the least skill their academic education prepared them with.
Like we have a compulsory NYSC every year. I believe the government or the educational sector should do something like, when they know somebody's in their final year, maybe they allow them go through a month or so, or they introduce a course and make it mandatory for them to be able to go out there and face the outside world when it comes to interviews, when it comes to networking and all of that. I've seen super amazing, intelligent people lost opportunities because they were not confident, and those who were not so smart but have built their confidence are able to get the job and get these networks and get these opportunities. Especially when you come from a Yoruba or Igbo family where you don't have to look at your dad in the eye. You get that kind of thing. So you have to learn to look at people in the eye when you talk to them. It makes them believe that you are not up to something. You're not hiding anything in your cupboard.
We're going to school or having to attend different schools, all right? They just teach us, we only have syllabus on what they've been doing so far in past years, and there's no trend of bringing in new things.
So the next time you complain about not getting a job, think about how well your CV is prepared. Assess your communication skills during the interview and think about how well you presented yourself.
Good afternoon, I am Mercy Bopo. This is a news brief. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared Biodun Oyebanji of the All Progressive Congress winner of the 2022 Ekiti governorship elections. Mr. Oyebanji polled a total of 187,057 votes to defeat the two closest challengers. One of the Social Democratic Party and BC Kolawole of the People's Democratic Party. The SDP emerged in second place with total vote of 82,211, while the PDP was third with 67,457 votes.
Adewolu Olade Akiyemi of party ZLP scored a total of 282 votes. That Abiodun Abayomi Oyebanji of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected. Signed by the returning officer. Dated 19th day of June 2022.
Oyebanji is now set to replace the incumbent Kayode Fayemi in October. Seun Oni campaign organization has rejected the outcome of Saturday's governorship election, saying it is unacceptable. Seun Oni's camp said that it would actually confront the electoral process. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had declared the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Mr. Abiodun Oyebanji, as the winner of the elections. Oyebanji defeated the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Mr. Seun Oni, who scored 82,211, while candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. BC Kolawole, scored 67,457. But reacting to the outcome of the exercise, spokesman of the campaign organization, Mr. Moses Jolayemi, accused the APC of engaging in vote buying. He also accused security agents of compromising the elections. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the recently concluded governorship elections in Ekiti State, Otumba Olabisi Kolawole, has thanked the people of the state for their peaceful conduct during the exercise. He also thanked the PDP members and supporters who believed in him and the party. He commended the former governor of the state, Mr. Ayo Fayose, for his leadership and fatherly role. Kolawole placed third with 67,457 votes. The Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to prosecute all those involved in vote buying and the costs of the Ekiti State governorship elections. SERAP, in a short tweet on Saturday, said the prosecution must not end with those caught in the act, but must be extended to politicians who fund their election malpractice. The group's reaction trails news of vote buyers being arrested by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Parading some of the suspects at the Oke-Oriomi area of the Division of the Nigerian Police, the authorities said individuals were caught with monies allegedly used to induce voters, and acts the EFCC officials say were carried out secretly. In a communique signed by its chairman, the group, however, noted that it is impressed to observe that the marginalized population, the aged, nursing mothers, and pregnant women and persons with disabilities were offered priority voting in most of the polling units observed. Yaga Africa commended the EFCC for arresting people that engage in vote buying while calling on proper prosecution of individuals caught in the act of vote buying or voter inducement. He also commended INEC for following the provisions of the new Electoral Act 2022 and the people of the state for peaceful conduct during the voting process.
This election provides an opportunity to assess the operational implications of some of the provisions in the Act and also the newly issued guidelines by INEC. Other areas of interest include the deployment and functionality of the BVAS for accreditation, the role of the permanent voters card in determining the conclusiveness of the election, and the new framework for election results management. There are critical incidents that we've highlighted. One is of voter inducement and bribery, and this election, like we indicated in our pre-election statement, will be defined or marred by vote buying. We also observed vote buying across polling stations, and in those polling stations, We also observed that the polling stations and the cubicles were stationed in a way that they compromised the secrecy of the ballot. We've received reports of ballot box snatching in Ilawe, Ward 5, near St. Patrick Primary School. These incidents of ballot box snatching was also reported in 2 polling units, and we have the codes of the polling units in those locations. In view of the foregoing, we make the following preliminary recommendations. That 1, INEC should safeguard the transparency of the election results collation and counting process. And transparency begins with INEC publishing the disaggregated data of the number of PVCs collected per polling unit before the end of polls. In our pre-election statement, we had called on INEC to publish the data, the PVC collection rate, after the deadline of June 16th, and to do so with updated data per polling unit. So we want to call on INEC to publish the data.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Lucky Rabo, has advised military retirees against being used by politicians to truncate the country's democracy, saying such move could lead to face-off between the military and the citizens. Addressing retirees who graduated from the Nigerian Armed Forces Settlement Center, Oshodi, having completed mandatory vocational training, the CDS warned against complacency.
Transition to civil life after several years of service is a global practice in the military, and the Nigerian Armed Forces is no exception. And to ensure a seamless move back to civil life, the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center, Oshodi, Lagos, was established. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, enjoined the retiring graduates of the center to take advantage of the skills acquired to better their lives. He advised them to be prudent with their retirement benefits and invest wisely. He further warned them to resist the temptation of meddling in politics, as such move could destabilize the country's democracy.
I urge you to employ the various knowledge and skills you have acquired while undergoing the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center training for peaceful and productive economic life as you reintegrate into the Nigerian civil society. I encourage you to justify the magnanimity of the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, who has continued to support the armed forces, most especially the retiring members of the armed forces, as seen in the enhanced packages by maintaining your loyalty and dedication to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
316 graduates drawn from the Nigerian Army, Air Force, and the Navy were trained in various vocations for easy reintegration into civil life.
You have successfully completed this course amidst tight schedules, and this shows your commitment and discipline, which are all attributes you have acquired in the course of your active service to our dear nation. Let me emphasize that the trainee's retirement course is to reorientate and position you for a successful reintegration into civil life after a meritorious service to our dear country. It is our expectation that your graduation, the service, and this center will continue to get positive feedbacks as you gallantly soar through the post-service life. Be bold and courageous. Remain disciplined and focused. The sky certainly is your beginning.
It is expected that with the acquisition of needed skills, the retirees will lead productive lives in their post-service years. Destiny Momo, Plus TV News.
The Bielsa state government has been asked to identify genuine farmers in the state and make loans available to them. This is in order to stop the importation of food from outside the state and also create jobs for the growing population of unemployed youths in the state. Details in this report.
This is Nimbe local government area of Bielsa State, which is believed to have one of the largest mangroves in the Niger Delta. Behind the mangroves is massive land fertile for the growing of cocoa, sugarcane, and other crops. But these lands are only being cultivated recently through self-help. Bielsans are thought to be lazy and unwilling to work, but this farmer has a different point of view. He says farmers are struggling to get access to loans to support their businesses, but that government loan only gets to those who have no farms.
From the starting of this farm, my farming business, there's nobody has come to my rescue or to assist me in finance. Some other farmers are right there suffering the kind of suffering today. But the loan they are giving, they are not giving to the right persons. Government is giving loan to farmers, but they now go and show you small area, or because you have political father, you go and give your son or this thing to give. Yes, farmers are plenty. Like if I don't bring you to this place, you might not even know that this is what I'm passing through. People are like that. We are now lazy. So I am giving an advice to Nigerian youths. Let's stand up and face our farm business, because definitely formerly this farming that we use in feeding all of Nigeria.
There are other environmental factors to deal with, occasioned by gas flaring and crude oil pollution, and the government is called upon to address these issues. Bielsans are also advised not to abandon their traditional occupations, which are fishing and farming, and to stop the dependence on government alone for jobs.
Mostly the oil part, when oil is spilled, the smoke from here to Nembe Creek is not too far. Speedboat is 20-something minutes drive. We will get to Nembe Creek where the oil is booming. We have about 4 stations right there. The smokes, when sometimes rain falls, you see the smokes. The smokes will fall on top the crops. You see them. So that is a challenge by L. That is unrest. So when you get some kind of now you see the crops will come down a bit. Nimbe man occupation is farming, but to forget our farming business, going to different oil business, all these things. So I now stood up as a man to say, this is our route and I have to go back to it. So that I was building a hotel. I abandoned the hotel. I said, let me come up with a farm so that if this thing motivates me, it will still motivate others to encourage them to stand firm to do farm work.
The Bielsa state government is also called upon to invest in agriculture to help curtail restiveness among young people. Just CSA Plus TV News.
And to other parts of Africa, thousands of protesters took to the street of Tunisia today in opposition to a referendum on new constitution called by President Kais Saied that would cement his hold on power. The protest led by Habib Morsi, leader of the Free Constitutional Party, reflected growing opposition to Saied since the seized executive power last year, dissolving parliament and ruling by decree in a move opponents called a coup. Thousands marched from Bab Sukai Square in the capital towards Gashiba Square, waving Tunisian flags. And outside Africa, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky visited the southern frontline city. His office said that without specifying what the visit took place, in the video released by President's office, Zelensky was seen wearing his trademark Kashki t-shirt, working alongside Governor Vitaly Kim, looking at the damaged buildings. And Prime Minister Boris Johnson arrived at the Northern on Oxfordshire in southern England following a surprise visit to meet with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in Kyiv. He said it was important to go to Ukraine for Britain to continue to show its support in Ukraine for the long haul, warning of a strike and risks of Ukraine fatigue as the war drags on. He also offered the major training operation he believes could change the equation against Russian invasion.
I think it's very important to go to to Ukraine at a particularly critical time. The worry that we have is that a bit of Ukraine fatigue is starting to set in around the world. But when you got to understand, the Ukrainians are suffering terribly in the east of their country. Putin is continuing to commit appalling atrocities. When Ukraine fatigue is setting in, very important to show that we're with them for the long haul, and we're giving them that strategic resilience that they need. I think that the crucial thing is to look at the problems that the Ukrainians have, and it would be a catastrophe if Putin won. It would be a catastrophe if he was able to secure the land bridge, the cities in the south that he has, to hold the Donbass. That's what he wants. He wants to be able to say, we've got Melitopol, we've got Berdyansk, we've got Mariupol, got all that southern belt, we've got Kherson, and then close off the Donbass, and then he'd love nothing more than to say, well, let's freeze this conflict, let's have a ceasefire like we did back in 2014.
And in business news, Bitcoin plunged below $20,000, shading 9% from the previous day to fall $18,740, its lowest since December 13, 2020. With investors increasingly wary over the risks, the world's most popular crypto asset has lost more than 72% of its value since reaching a high of $68,991 on November 10th, 2021. Cryptocurrency have paid the biggest price. And in entertainment news, veteran rapper and superstar Ice Prince has announced that he will be releasing his first single of 2022 on the 2nd of June, featuring Sheyi Vibes and Caesar Miley. Ice Prince has been in the music industry over a decade and was able to achieve huge success with his debut album, Everybody Loves Ice Prince. And in sports news, Akofa Sports Foundation held her 5th edition of the Champion of Champions, a one-day basketball championship for the top 4 basketball teams in Lagos. The 2022 championship featured the winners of the 2022 Akofa Senior Basketball Ivy League and the winner of the Milo Western Conference Basketball Champion, Topfield College, Ajegunle, runner-up of the 22nd Akofa Senior Basketball Ivy League, for Secondary School, Akoka, a winner of the Dancehall Basketball Championship, Dancehall High School, and lastly the OBN Basketball Academy. OBN Academy defeated the Air Force Secondary School 34-24 to advance to the finals, while the Topfield defeated the Dancehall 30-19 to book her place in the final.
I didn't really expect winning the MVP because I had better players than me on my team, and I was just basically based on defense. I was really happy for our defense, and winning the trophy, I think we worked hard for it, so I guess it's nice to win the trophy.
It's a wonderful event. I want to thank Akofa for Foundation for putting such a wonderful event. I want to thank Ayo, Fanny for organizing this kind of a wonderful event. The kids, obviously, the kids loved it. We were very happy to host the tournament, and it turned out to be really well. And the kids played extremely hard, and they came out victorious. We have to have more and more competition. That's why we have OBN, and that's why we have the facility. So we're going to keep putting together more and more events for these kids. And you can see by putting these events together and they get to play, they get much better.
Individuals are the one making the youth basketball in this country even to where it is. Individuals like the person that owns these facilities, Obina. Individuals like Akofa Foundation, and many other individuals that does a basketball program. We need more of this, of course. We need way more of this. Whoever that is out there that wants to start programs like this, please get up, do it, and we should all get up and support whoever that wants to do something like this, because that's just the way forward. There are millions of kids out there that would need such, that are looking forward to look forward to programs like this so that they can get better. They have something to look forward to for the future.
It's been a very good tournament. The kids have shown very good talent, passing, dribbling. I think there's a there's room for a lot of improvement, and we want to see more events like this. Well, presently there's no league, there's no national league, but events like this give the kids opportunities to play. So more events like this really would help these kids grow, because we need more games. The kids need to be playing a lot of games. So we're really thankful to the organizers of this event for putting this up and giving these kids opportunity to play again.
Nigerian basketball is developing at a pace that is unprecedented, and it's not being done by a collective body of the. It's been done by individuals. There are lots of talents in Nigeria. Even with the issues in Nigeria, the game has continued to develop, and it's surprising to people. But what makes the game develop are tournaments like this, are events like this, the likes of the Aquifer Sports Foundation, OBN, and lots of other foundations, lots of other individuals putting their money on the table, putting their resources to ensure these guys have a place and an opportunity to showcase their talents.
And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Messi Bokbo. Many thanks for watching.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
I bet your eyes and ears are thrilled with music videos coming from Nigerian artists. You obviously notice the singer, the video vixens, and other talents. But what about the music director? Close your eyes, think about your favorite music video, and see if you can tell who directed it. Great if you can, sad if you can't. We're here to celebrate the brains behind the videos out there, and here are 5 top Nigerian music video directors. Number 1. Clarence Peters. He's a director, filmmaker, and cinematographer. The founder and chief executive officer of Capital Dream Pictures was involved in a mobile-sponsored music video for a documentary on AIDS in 1998. He directed 40 episodes of the TV series Everyday People. Peters has also shot a good number of documentaries, TV commercials, short films, and TV features. He has directed music videos for recording artists such as Dare, Durella, Wizkid, Seyi Shay, Burna Boy, Waje, Tubaba, Fino, Runtown, and Yemi Alade. Peters has won numerous awards for his works. Number 2. TG Omori. Also known as Boy Director, TG Omori is a Nigerian music video director and cinematographer. He started directing at 15 while overseeing stage plays at school and church. He began making videos a year later but took it up professionally at 18 after graduating from Pencil Film Institute. This made him the youngest professional filmmaker in Nigeria. He has worked with Olamide, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Tekno, Kiss Daniel, Fireboy DML, Fowls, Timaya, Naira Marley, and many others.
That's why she don't want to push, she wanna stick around. But she still say that she love me cause I'm sexy. And I tell her that she lying, that she flexing. She be screaming, I be screaming, we be reckless. But I know that she be liking makeup sexy.
Number 3, Meji Alabi. This London-born Nigerian filmmaker, director, photographer, and producer has worked alongside Beyonce, Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, Tiwa Savage, Popcan, Goldlink, and Nasty C. He directed Shay Shay's Murder in 2014, a move that gave him the desired attention in Nigeria. Alabi also worked with Wizkid on his Made in Lagos album. He's a co-founder of JM Films with Jimmy Adesoya.
And I tell you my God, you know my style, you know big chance, then it's all up, eBay. If you say you get the man, then you wanna try, you could go die, baby. You've been a landslide for a long time, but then no one believe me. All of when I come back, you one try, but you do me for easy.
Number 4, Dami Twitch. His original name is Owolabi Oluwadamilola. Twitch started with photography in 2013 before going to full music production in 2017. That was the year he shot his first music video for Burna Boy and Yonda. He has gone on to shoot visuals for Fowls, Burna Boy, Olamide, Lil Kesh, Victor A.D., Simi, Peruzzi, Mayokun, Leah, and Davido. Number 5, HG2 Filmworks. Olaolu Olabode Folarin, also known as HG2 Filmworks, is a Nigerian-American music video director, graphic designer, entrepreneur, and cinematographer. Olabode began his production journey as a graphic designer and later went into full-time music video production in 2010. He has directed music videos for big-name artists like D'banj, Kiss Daniel, Dami Crane, Reminisce, Nice, and Scales. You will agree with me that these directors bend over backwards to churn out massive videos for our entertainment. And such, they deserve more than enough accolades for their contributions. So whenever you watch your favorite artist videos, always remember the men behind the scene.
But worry for that. All rodents and reptiles so they disturb the dark.
I'm a graduate of Political Science Social Studies from Adini Rogosaya College of Education. I graduated in the year 2020.
See, as of now, I'm looking for other jobs that I can match together to meet up with responsibility.
One time I remember trekking from Oriental Hotel to Eco Hotel, dropping my CVs at every place. dropping my CVs at different restaurants, different bars, different hotels, just hoping for something.
Pius is a graduate of computer science, but he drives an Uber for a living in the city of Lagos. Although underemployed, Pius is considered a tad lucky because 41% of the labor population with bachelor's degrees are without employment.
I got several jobs. When I go for the interview, I'll pass it. They'll say I'm too young, they want an older chef. And then so things like that were very, very frustrating. They almost pushed me off the edge. I was almost at the brink of going to call my friends and be like, okay, let me learn this year with you. But I just decided to keep pushing. Then I heard about this Uber thing. I got my first car. I was driving for somebody. I was supposed to be paying the person 25k a week. But sometimes when I walk, the car was having so much issues. If I make maybe 20, 30k in a day, the car, I'll end up spending like 27,000, 25,000 on fuel. So I couldn't keep up. I had to go for another car to another car before I finally found this one. And this one I'm driving to own the car and I'm almost done with it.
Presently, 1 out of every 3 Nigerians that are able to work are unemployed. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, 23.2 million Nigerians are out of work. That is almost the entire population of Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Gambia combined. While Nigeria's youth population has increased much in the last 1.5 decades, the available economic opportunities are shrinking. Nigeria is facing an increasing youth bulge with over 123 million young citizens, but there are just not enough jobs for these youths.
From 2015 to date, I found myself jobless. Now presently I'm managing a job, electrical job, which I invested my money and went to go and acquire some skills, which is providing money for me now.
Instead of me searching for a job, my father just advised me, instead of you working somewhere, killing yourself, you know what the country is now, just go into this. And I thought of it, I started making research, then I started doing my father's business. And that was how I started selling ads. I sell ads here and there.
Up to date, if I see a job, I will work, but if the pay is meaningful, because now they can't give me a job that will be earning like 45,000 or 50,000, because now through my electrical job I'm doing now, I earn more than the salary I think they will offer me now.
The dire unemployment situation, which some believe is more severe than reported, has been made worse by the coronavirus pandemic, which has led to shutdown of businesses. The adverse effects of this rising unemployment rate in Nigeria are becoming enormous and far-reaching.
Where there is unemployment, there is psychological desperation in itself, the sense of not having something to do. Then you also have the cogent economic consequence of not having money to spend because you're not working. This economic consequence then falls into a sociological consequence, which is a criminal side, because if people cannot fend for themselves, they either beg or steal or engage in any kind of disruptive criminal act. For these reasons, for these 3 reasons of psychology, sociology, and economic reasons, it is very important that we take the issue of unemployment very seriously.
When you are not able to meet your basic needs, when you that were able to put food on your table, you're now struggling, you that you were able to give somebody 5,000 naira, you're the one that is now begging 5,000 naira, it affects your sense of worth.
The unemployment problem is compounded for those living with disabilities who have to deal with extra hurdles, people like Christiana, who is a visually impaired business owner and tutor in Lagos.
We have this misconception that when there is no sight, there is nothing you can do. But in my own case, it's not like that. But one of the problems that we have is like people never had that trust with people living that disability that they can deliver it. And at the same time, people look down on us, low esteem, and there is discrimination and stigmatization that you cannot deliver.
The problem of exclusion is also gendered, as the numbers show. While the rate of unemployment is high, women are the worst hit. In stock terms, there are 30% more unemployed women than men. Women face barriers that men don't have to deal with.
So the woman who's at home and who's caring for the children or who's the natural carer, would we say that that person is employed or not? I would dare say that they are employed. Now, we may have as high as, 10%, like I said, I think it's more. We may have a lot more women not employed in the formal structure as we know it, either within the corporate world or perhaps down the line of entrepreneurship. And there are very many different reasons and factors for that. But the starting point usually has to do with, the girl-child education, as we know, based on our culture and based on the long-standing statistics that we have that show that the girl child is not as educated. We don't take the same opportunities for the girl child as we've taken for the boy child due to cultural nuances. Traditionally, we believe that we should, educate the boys and not the girls. So let's go further up the pipeline. You do have girls who on graduation start and compete as well as the boys in terms of their careers, in terms of paid employment, and we're seeing a lot more of them now in terms of entrepreneurship. However, what tends to happen over time is, again, they tend to drop out when it's time perhaps to have a family. So it's really down sometimes to the choices that are made. And what we must do to try and balance things out is make sure that the choices that are open to women are actually more. So what are those things making them drop out? What are, for example, the reasons why midway through your career, you have to make a choice to say, I need to focus on my home? What then can employers do to ensure that these women are given the opportunities? How can we expand the choices such that I can manage my home, manage my career, still look after my children? And sometimes it's very simple things like, do we have the facility for childcare?
Unemployment in Nigeria is not just about availability of jobs, but also about the education system producing the right type of manpower in the right quality and quantity to industrialize the country. State actors and stakeholders say many Nigerian youths are not employable because their skills are largely divorced from labor requirements.
I think, in my view, reviving our technical and vocational education and training systems, it's not optional. As a matter of fact, it's where we must go, pari passu, our other academic institutions like universities and co, such that you find that we have a lot more focus around disciplines, around trades, around disciplines, around specializations. We are in I'm in a room now, and I'm in your station, where journalism is a profession, right? But then there are also certain skill sets, whether it's graphics, whether it's creatives, that work very well with your industry. Now, not all of the skill sets that you need in this radio house require a university degree. So a lot of them can be honed, right from even as maybe senior secondary or even post-secondary through different diploma programs and things like that. Now, that's what we must do in terms of our skilling process, so that you have what you call a multiple pathway to your aspiration in life.
Vocational training is the key, is the answer. Germany, all industrialized nations, they all depend on these skills training. They have a robust, developed infrastructure for skills training. And so we cannot, no economy, no country can really move forward without having a developed structure, a developed ecosystem, a developed environment to train people, to send people for internship, or to train people, intern people, and eventually create employment for people, because eventually it is those people who are trained, it is those people who have gone through internship, it is those people who have become employable who eventually becomes employers themselves.
But where are these vocational schools? There are just about 123 government-approved vocational schools across Nigeria. Aside this, there is also a certain stereotype that discourages students from enrolling in such schools.
The reason why some people don't like vocational work, depending on the area of specialization, you have to, when you want to work, you have to change your wares, and some don't like dirty work. Like me, I'm a plumber. People don't really know. Once I'm done in site and going home, people don't really believe that I'm a plumber, because maybe my stature or the way I look, so people don't really believe unless they see me while working on site.
So unfortunately, the number of people who are applying, to learn skill and all of that is still very low in number. And I actually understand why it is low in number. When you operate in an environment that glorifies certificate over skill, when you operate in an environment where the skilled workers are not properly paid, when you operate in that environment where there is no glory in having skilled work, of course, the youth will not be interested in that. But when you operate in a society that celebrates certification without adequate work, and that do not pay people living wages for their skills, then of course there's going to be very low interest in that particular field of work.
In the absence of white-collar jobs, many youth have turned to the informal sector, earning a living with small businesses and creating employment also. Presently, these small businesses account for 96% of businesses and 84% of employment in the country. Despite the significant contribution of SMEs to the Nigerian economy, the sector is still struggling with growth.
For me, there are three things. The first one is infrastructure. Power, for example, access to markets. When you are an SME or a member of the informal sector, if you are producing something in small quantities, after you've paid your rent, you've bought your raw materials, you have your equipment, you of course have to supplement power, because we don't have stable power in the country. So I think that's one of the major issues. Another issue is double tax or multiple taxation. A lot of businesses, there's no clarity on who they should be paying what taxes to. So for example, I once worked with one of the mobility startups in Lagos in the bike hailing space. And whilst we were, trying to speak with the LIRS, for example, about personal income tax or some basic tax from the drivers, we were obviously also having to deal with the unions, with their daily levies and all of that. So therefore, things like that will stifle businesses and informal sector players.
Although the informal sector may be having an influx of educated youth as players, there is also the snag of these graduates being majorly unequipped for entrepreneurship.
The world is moving from theoretical based learning to case-based learning, where you sit and you study case studies, you study practical lessons about scenarios, right, for business. I think it was Obasanjo, regime that tried to introduce entrepreneurship studies as one of the general GES courses or general studies courses. And, you look at the syllabus of that course, it's the same theoretical stuff, right? So there is nothing that prepares them properly for the challenges, for the realities, for the type of dynamics that they will be facing if they go out into the business world, right? If you look at the Igbo apprenticeship culture, it's an amazing learning point, because everything does not have to be. All your learning, your education doesn't have to come from the classroom, right? It does not always have to come from the classroom. So I think if government was serious enough, right, I would expect that the SMEDAN, for example, should have put in some type of structural support for the Igbo apprenticeship model, so that we can replicate those models across various societies.
The government acknowledges there is a bulging youth population with overwhelming unemployment figures. They, however, also insist they are addressing the problem.
The government has been consciously and in a deliberate manner trying to address the issue of the youth bulge. It's not just about the numbers. It's also about what are the needs of the variegated strata of the youth population. First, education is key, because education is power. Education is the greatest weapon against poverty. So the government has committed so much into education. There's emphasis on technical and vocational education, on the skills that you have. That's one. Two, as regards to the new technology, the digital economy, the ICT as it is, we've seen that our youth are IT savvy, we've seen that our youth have innovative minds. And my ministry, which is the Ministry of Youth, for instance, just during the COVID era, that's my first year in office, we were able to train close to 100,000 people on digital skills, which is still ongoing. We have quite a number of other skills. But the emphasis all around has been that the need to upskill our youth is a central agenda, but also to match the skills with the jobs available. There's been a mismatch in the past. But under this government, we've seen a deliberate effort to make sure that the upskilling of our youth, where that the skills they acquire matches the jobs available in the market, so that you just don't train them and throw them back into the job market. I know that you must have read it. In 5.5 years, this government has created 45 youth-focused programs. Some of them are empowerment programs. Some of them are entrepreneurship training. Some of them are technology training. And these programs are domiciled in various ministries.
Nigeria has not lacked special intervention programs. There are many of them. Yet, there are many unemployed youths, as these intervention programs have failed in dropping the increasing unemployment rates. Critics argue that these programs are unimpressive.
For the intervention, or rather the interventions of the government, I'm going to score them high on intention, and I'm going to score them low on performance or on result. High on intention because the act of rolling out a lot of intervention schemes, like the NPower, You Win, and the various ones, including trader money, all to activate employment, shows that there are people thinking, there are people of good intention out there. But the method to which they've approached it and the results they're getting makes me score them low on it, because in 2021, it is not the role of government to be creating jobs for people or to be doling out money for individuals to grow their businesses. What the government needs to do are three, really, is to overall create an environment that allows employment to be created. Who create employment is businesses. So the government needs to create an environment that allows business to thrive and create employment, and thus doing, fight unemployment.
Government will tell you, BOI, CBN, all of these guys, they'll tell you that we are providing interventions for MSMEs, so we have this 10 billion, we have this 100 billion for MSMEs, and then they will give you the guidelines, and then in the guidelines you will see that they need you to register with CAC, they need you to have a bank account, they need you to have a business plan, they need you to have a financial statement. Look, that already by design excludes majority of those in the MSME space.
To bridge its unemployment gap, experts say Nigeria will have to create 5 million jobs annually for the next 10 years. Is the Nigerian government ready to tackle this problem?
You know, that question is a question for Minister of Labour. It's a question for me, Minister of Youth Development. It's a question for the Minister of Finance. It's a question for the NBS, you know. But I only wear one cap. And my desire is that the youth unemployment will drop. What am I doing in that direction as a minister in this government? Is to make sure that we win our youth off this idea of just putting together a resume and looking for a job, a white-collar job, an office job, a 5 to 9 job. There's no country in the world that has been able to solve its youth unemployment problem without turning its youth into entrepreneurs. And that is the whole rationale behind the establishment of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. The emphasis is on two major things. That is, we must invest in our youth, provide them the needed credit and capital, access to that capital that can make them become wealth creators. Second, we need to focus ourselves educationally. We need to provide technical skills and vocational skills. China, 2 years ago, decided to close down over 200 universities or 250 universities and then turn them into vocational and technical schools, because the emphasis now in the developed world is the skills and what you can produce with your knowledge and your hand, not sitting down and carrying files in an office. So we need that paradigm shift. The AFDB leads clearly in the fact that we should move from youth empowerment to youth investment. That don't give our youth handouts, but give them tools, give them resources, give them credit and finance so that they can start. And look at this country. Our youth are they're hugely talented. The creative and entertainment industry dominates. Look at Nollywood, for instance. Look at where it is right now. And look at the musical world. Our Nigerian musicians, massive. But there's also a value chain. So there's an emphasis on looking at what's the value chain in agriculture. How do we you don't have to be a farmer. You can be an off-taker, just buy the produce and take it to the market. Look at sports, for instance. The value chain of sports is massive. Have we explored it? No. Under this government, we've been able to reclassify sports from recreation to business. And as we put together that policy, the entire value chain of sports as business will employ a lot of youth.
If Nigeria is to turn its large youth population into an advantage, then Nigeria has to rapidly reduce the disastrously high rates of youth unemployment.
You see, luckily and unluckily for us, we are an underdeveloped country. And most of what we have, what we need, we don't have enough of them. We don't have enough schools. We don't have enough hospitals. We don't have enough, almost anything. I can't think of anything that we have enough of. That problem of scarcity of assets should become the solution to our problem, in the sense that we should just sit down and try to create what we lack. To create what we lack, we need to think of what is needed. Why is it that we're not producing, and why is it that we're not consuming what we produce? Why is it that there is no urge to produce? Why are we having more pastors and politicians than manufacturers? If we want to boost Made in Nigeria, for example, I think we need to sit down and say, the first thing we need to do is perhaps create 5,000 production managers as a pilot scheme across the country, so that each one of them will go to different areas and specialize in one sort of production or the other. I repeat, I'm insisting on production, knowing fully well that where there is production, accountants will be needed, photographers will be needed, salespeople will be needed. The core of progress since the Industrial Revolution lies in production.
They really need to go fast because boys are not smiling, and then it can lead to early bloodshed. Early bloodshed in the sense that there will be serious competition. Boys know they smile again. Boys are willing to get their hands on anything just for this bar. And the government, if they are this slow, they will not be able to withstand what will come.
Reading is an essential habit and a culture that must be developed. Nigerians are generally believed to have a poor reading culture. The role of government in promoting reading and equipping reading spaces and libraries in Nigeria cannot be underestimated. But first, we must look at the development of reading habits from the home and the role parents play in encouraging their children.
My parents, my mom used to be a teacher, so reading was obviously part of a curriculum. And then my father used to be a professor and is an author. So I started reading very, very early, and I started reading books that were higher than my age grade. I was reading African Writer series from age 7, age 8, and reading encyclopedias by that time. So obviously my parents had a huge part and encouraged that in me.
In the Nigerian book market, there's a high influx of foreign authors writing for children, but very few Nigerian authors telling relatable, homegrown Nigerian stories.
If you start out reading stories even to your baby, even before they're 1, and then as they get older, buy appropriate materials that are colorful, with easy to read words, and read with them. I think that helps.
Adedotun Enyade, a co-founder of Robin Heights, a leading bookstore in Nigeria, has tips for Nigerian authors and how they can improve on their work and get into the hearts of readers.
The story has to be good, right? If you're writing, whatever you're writing, if you're writing fiction, if you're writing non-fiction, it has to be like, really, really compelling, one. The next thing would be like in terms of like the packaging, right? People have gone past the era where you just take your books to just about any printer to print for you. I think, publishers, self-published authors as well, they need to invest in ensuring that the quality of the book, the final output is one that would, stack up with any book, published, elsewhere in the world. So that's really important. Then I think, what would be like the most important tip for me to them would be just, they need to invest in marketing.
The book business, like any other business, is challenging.
If you ask anyone who's running the business in Nigeria, they will tell you capital, of course, right? Book selling is also, as with any other business, is also quite capital intensive. Getting to pay your rent, getting to actually buy the books and stock up like your shelves when you have them. Hiring good people requires decent amount of capital. So I would say it's getting the startup funds to set up something, and then if you're looking to do it at scale like we're hoping to do, then it also requires you raising funding, which isn't readily available in commercial banks, right? I don't think a bank would say they want to give you a loan to set up a bookstore. They probably will be skeptical about the number of people who read. So for us, I think it's just I would say capital is at the top of the totem pole.
It is commendable that certain individuals and organizations are making concerted efforts to revive the reading culture in the country. The government should also redesign the school curriculum to incorporate more reading activities in primary and secondary schools.
Are you wondering why we're still wearing the same clothes? That's because we never left you. We're back in the lounge to continue this discussion on traditions. Should we stop some? But I like some, though. Anyway, we'll be having this discussion after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Yes, we're in the lounge, like Anne said, but we're still in the lounge with Saudat, Chisom, Fumi, and me, of course, Adesuwa Onyenokwe. Where am I? But you know what? The beauty about the conversation we are having is that it doesn't ever end. They can continue online, and we don't have all the answers. Mm-hmm. But I think quite clearly from the beginning of this conversation, we all agreed that traditions... No, Anne has been...
She doesn't want me to show this my skirt, but I'm going to show it
Anne, you have
anyway.
introduced yourself now.
Yeah, but I'm still going to flaunt my skirt. My name is Anne.
Hey, are you fly?
Yeah.
You know, because Anne's into, it's okay. I'm sorry, my dear. Before they say I use old woman sense. Remove your shine. No, but sincerely, I mean, I think we just finished that conversation without realizing we had done half an hour. And so we came back here. And would I be right if I said we all agree that traditions have their place?
Yes, of course.
But there are some that are not too good. But I like the tradition of lolly and aphrodisiacs and getting them ready.
No, I'm so for that.
Oh, you're so for that.
Everybody's for that except Auntie.
No, but honestly, the question I ask, which is why I think we should focus, I think we should focus on that. There seems to be so much preparation, right? When it comes to traditions, the focus is more on the female. I know women are important. After all, that's why today's woman exists, because I know women are important. But then if you're putting so much pressure on women to be a particular way, and then everything you do is to try to make her be good for the man, isn't that somewhat negative?
I mean, you all have been coming with that thought, and I've been suppressing saying why it is. But you know why it is.
Why?
We have evolved from a very chauvinistic society. Most societies, and not just us, everywhere in the world, the men had the power. The men laid down the rules, and who would not lay down rules to benefit themselves? So that is the root of it. Why do you think there was feminism and all those things evolving, coming out of traditions generally? That's because the root of most traditions, because they were handed down a long time, were rooted in chauvinistic societies. And it is that we hopefully are, through feminism, through education, through civilization, through women being themselves aware and not allowing themselves empowered, are trying to get rid of. So there's no point asking a question about what we know why. That's why. I also want to say that sometimes it's how you interpret. A number of these things are not because they want to suppress the women, really. It's because they want, because quote unquote, the woman is the weaker sex. So some of these things are to protect. Some. It's how you interpret. Some are to protect. Or rather, maybe the intention was to protect. But you are protecting what wants to be protected. I want to fly. Let's take an example when you look at culture of religion. As a Muslim, they will tell you that, well, the culture is, oh, the woman is supposed not to do, some Muslim countries, the woman shouldn't drive, the woman shouldn't do this, the woman should do that. It's not like they said you should not drive. The woman should not do things that are strenuous. So those countries will tell you don't drive, because they want a man to drive. As a Muslim, in the culture, I'm not supposed to cook my husband. He's supposed to make sure I eat. Yes, and I'm not bound to cook for him. But I have to eat. They don't allow people drive cars. It's to curtail movement. So you can give them the excuses. No. But it is to curtail movement. It's the interpretation. Then, if we all want to interpret that we are being protected, those societies should remain in those rules.
No, what I'm saying is how people interpret it, how they interpret a rule. Yeah. Take, for example, I learned here, talking to you on the show, that Islam says you marry 4 wives only if you can love them equally.
Yes, equally. If you can afford it, you can take care of them.
So, but then you are now saying that Islam allows you to marry 4. Is that true?
Adeswa, how many people are able to sensually love 4 women equally?
They can't. That's what I'm saying. That means it doesn't say you should marry 4 wives.
Interpretation of it. It's like also the rule is one thing. You said they can. The rule is one thing. They can't. Says they can't. The rule is one thing.
Application.
And the application is another thing. Now, sorry, excuse me. Let me just treat that driving thing. Look at here. If you're a driver in Nigeria, you're a big girl. If you have a driver, you're a big girl now. But because it is your choice to have a driver. Now look at another community that is telling telling a man that you must provide a driver for your wife. She must not drive because it is strenuous. Now the woman, she's enlightened now. She feels as if, wow,
they're holding me down. I can't go out by myself. So to her, it's punishment because somebody is driving her. She can't drive by herself.
No,
it can't. That's what I'm saying. It can be.
Punishment is not because somebody is driving her, like you said. It's a big girl that's driven. It is not the fact that she's being driven that is punishment. What is punishment is that
people should have a
she
choice.
is not allowed
to
to drive. So she doesn't have any control over her life.
But it is those that are interpreting that law that are saying don't drive. What we're trying to say is that protect your wife, don't let her do things that are strenuous.
So look at this too.
I have a question. So my question is, so in Islam, you're not allowed to marry 4 wives unless you can take care of them, right? Who does joining?
Who does the joining?
Husband and wife.
The imam.
So at the point where the man came with more wives, was he asked that is he capable?
Which is
They'll ask
you the question now.
Which
You
is,
say you
which
are.
is what comes to application.
Application.
The imams are men.
They're there now.
So the point is, that's what comes to application.
We have to be careful in going down that path. Because if you go down that path, then you're telling us to check it by each application. We need to decide whether a tradition is negative or positive, is right or wrong, rather than be trying to see whether an interpretation makes it okay.
Let's go to Christianity, where, for example, in more Orthodox churches, a woman can't be a pastor or a priest.
Yes.
Because Apostle Paul said at one point in time,
but everybody's
let them be
fighting
seen, not be heard.
But now everybody's fighting it. Yes. And there are now bishops and things, female pastors everywhere.
It was a culture. That's why it was existing,
Yes.
right? So even if you say it's in the interest of the woman, when the times change, shouldn't people change even if it's in the interest of the woman?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
like,
Chisom, yes,
I have
I was
something
going
to
to
say. So my dad, I always would have to refer to him in this tradition. So he bought lands, properties in the village for us, inclusive of me. Of course, I'm the first. So in fact, I even have the largest and the only. So I have like the largest portions of land. But then I know, but I know some people are asking why, because one day I'm going to get married and leave, and what's going to happen? Does it make sense to have this much property? What am I going to use it to do? And I mean, it doesn't make sense to me because I could come back to use it to do something.
What did your father say?
One day he just brought all of us and he was like, oh, this is yours. This is your brother's own. And he was just like, do whatever it is you want to do.
Money episode.
No, I wasn't.
Because I was going to say, I'm sure you got the reply, what you should reply them when they say, what are you going to do with all that money? You would have been able to reply them that it's for your self-confidence, it's for the power you need, and it's for spending.
So isn't that a function of how the father has chosen to apply something that exists? He's chosen not to listen because
you hear that in the Igbo culture, women are not allowed to inherit. But he's not looking at that now.
He's taking care of it.
And then I like what he's doing because, why wait until you die and leave chaos?
Yeah.
So why don't you do it now that you're like, I see very educated and enlightened people when they die. You should preempt the sort of thing that's going to happen because you're not unaware of the fact that this is what happens. So if you want to if you have 3 daughters and a son, and you know that when you will die someday. Do you understand? So why don't you gift it to them while you're alive and know that that's done? Because traditionally, that thing will never get to them.
That's another tradition that's not good.
Yeah, but that's
women
the point.
don't inherit.
We need to go to the root of those
In my
traditions
culture, women
inherit. Change it rather than hope that people apply them well. That's how I think.
Culture and
With
religion
those traditions
in Africa.
They're so intertwined.
They are so intertwined. When we talk about, sorry, I have to take you back to this 4 wives thing. What is happening here, especially in Africa here, is not about being a Muslim, marrying 4 wives. It's about being an African. The only difference is that the Muslims have excuse to marry 4 wives. There's so many Christians and non-Muslims that have married 4 wives. The only one that will open his mouth and tell you why he married is because my religion allows it. Keep quiet. We're not the only Muslims in the world. There are Muslims in the US, in the UK, all over the world. So why is it Nigeria here or Africa here that you now marry? You see, that is the thing.
I think Saudat is fighting that battle. So the Muslim men stop using it as a skill.
Yes. Because if you want to marry, it's by choice. Well, I can answer that question. He has to.
I was going to say, and it shall remain so.
Amen. If you want to marry 4 wives, say, I want to marry 4 wives. Don't come and say because I'm a Muslim. Because many men have done that. Stop using Islam as your excuse. Don't do that. Do marry and be, like my people say, do it with your chest. Just and say, yes, I want to. Own it, yes. And you see, there's nothing, I'm not going to say that it is wrong to marry more than 1 wife because some women actually marry women for their husbands.
Yes.
So if you want to do it, it is okay if you want to do it, especially if you, because even some children that are born in polygamous homes, they like it. They say that it is a good community for them. So the culture and the tradition that we have, if more, a large percentage of it for me is very good. I love being a Nigerian. When I am out of this country, I am intimidating. I know that a lot. Especially when people know that I am Nigerian.
Oh my goodness.
I like the effect, especially in Africa.
What's the culture you take away that's so obvious?
Nigeria itself, the identity of being a Nigerian, the fact that we are confident.
Very confident.
When you go outside this country and you see a black person that is confident, raising their voice and excited, 9 out of 10 times, that is a Nigerian.
Can I even say an
Do you understand?
accent? So why do we even try to form other people's accent? A lot of people outside Nigeria really love our accents. Every time I go to Starbucks, there's always this guy asking, he's always adding more whipped cream because of my accent. He will just say to me, should I add more? Just so I say yes. You're like, ooh, I love it. And and then I come back here and everybody is trying to form British. In fact, I don't even know which it is,
But don't worry, when we go outside this country...
Can I ask the young people?
Plus me.
Yeah, you are included. Can I ask the young people, what do you think we need to do? Because let's get to the crux of this. Do we need to work to discontinue bad traditions, or should we be preaching application in a better way?
Start from here.
Yes, this has taken me to a discussion I had with somebody recently about adoption. So she said her dad had 2 girls and then wanted to have a boy, and then the mother was old. Her mother right now is maybe in her late 60s, 70s, and then they wanted a boy, and then they started to apply to different places. But then they said that in their family, so I don't know if it's an Igbo tradition, but in their family, adopted kids are not recognized. So it was something that they had to fight for a while because the man knew that he doesn't want all the property that he had to go to waste because they won't give the daughters, he doesn't have sons. So now he went and eventually they had signed up with an adoption home. Eventually they found twin boys. They wanted twin boys because just in case one dies or just in case one is lonely. I'm telling you, so this is the reason. So they had 2 boys and they adopted the 2 boys and then the family now accepted. So now when he died, these boys were 4 years old. They say, master this, master that. He's survived by sons, master this and master that. Now those children have even relocated to the US. And I'm thinking to myself, the property that he was fighting for and the reason why he has left his children to this woman that cannot, she's 70. She's incapable of fighting these battles with these children right now. At the end of the day, is there a better way that we could have applied it in the sense that this adoption, if it's more accepted, would more families have less problems?
So you're saying fundamentally try to work at changing the wrong or not so good traditions.
So in this sense, maybe we can apply. So people have been burnt by adopting children that have been a menace. That's understandable. So maybe in this one we can say, let's tweak it a bit. If families are open to it and you see that these are people that are distressed and they need this, then why not if not?
Okay, I think what you're saying, we're going to another topic here now. You're saying, traditions can be changed?
Or should they just be applied?
They can be tweaked. Like in this one, you can be tweaked, not necessarily.
In application. Thank you very much. And that was a very good way of saying it, and that we can tweak some of our traditions for modernity. So we shall go on a short break now, and we'll soon be back with more on tradition.
So, if you've missed any part of this conversation, you've missed a whole lot. I've been learning so much about traditions myself. My aunties and sisters in the lounge have been sharing so much about these traditions. And, Auntie Fumi says that we should keep a lot of these things. Should we?
I'm not saying keep the bad.
Okay.
But there is a lot in the good.
I think
And we
that's
should
Chisom
keep-
had this perspective. You're the youngest person.
I did ask Chisom to tell us what she thinks we should do to traditions that we don't consider very good. Is it to tweak them or to try to get rid of them?
I think we should get rid of them. What is bad is bad. What is harmful is harmful. And, you know, birth new traditions, birth new things. I mean, something started someday. So there's nothing that we cannot start a new, you know. So anything harmful should forever go, be discarded. Like drinking the water from your husband's funeral, you know, shaving your hair. I mean, if you want to, out of respect, I know a lot of people, when my last brother died, my mom shaved her hair just because she wanted to.
I like you bringing that in because the shaving, a lot of people talk about the shaving a lot, but I think sometimes the shaving is just to honor the person that has...
take off all vanity.
Yes.
It's okay, I just want to think about myself. I want to mourn.
Yeah, and she just did it for her son, and people were asking her why, and she was like, "It's my son."
Exactly.
And that was just it, you know. And everyone,
honoring.
Yes. Even in the Igbo culture, daughters are also expected to shave their hair if their mom actually passed. And then I've had this conversation a lot of time, and I'm like, I don't know, but you know, if that time comes and I want to, I will.
Well, you know, the point you raise is quite key. If it's not harmful and if it's not hurting anybody. Like what I told my sister-in-law, that look, listen, doesn't remove anything from your skin. So long as it don't make you drink something, just let it be for peace sake. But where we get a problem is where there's no choice. Say you must. And you say you must because, I mean, if you lose somebody, even if I shave my head, because you made me say I should shave my head, it doesn't mean I'm going to really mourn that person. Because I mean, I have a friend, when her husband died, they were separated, they were quarreling, and they made her shave her head. Say when she was sitting down there, she was just cursing the man's dead body. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. She was cursing the man's dead body, but she did it so there wouldn't be any trouble. But she was cursing the man. So let it be. Do what has to be done.
Let's go on a lighter note. Let's talk about the traditional. What would I call it? The masquerades and the fun things we do as you know.
Okay, I think that takes us to the point of what is the good and what is the bad. You were going to ask us.
Yes, of what we do and what is enjoyable. What is enjoyable? That's the word because. She had given us an example for Sadebe. and in fact, when she was saying it, I was thinking...
No, let's hum one of the songs.
Okay.
No, what's this now?
We can sing Ekwe.
Ekwe. No, that's not Sadebe. That is Onyeka.
I was wondering. Yes.
No, but it's home
So, yes, something like the Lagos States and the Egunguns, and tell us a bit about that.
Halloween is tradition for other cultures.
Yes.
It had its roots in witchcraft, though. Yes. But we have our own other traditions here.
Yes.
Like the different masquerade. Although we have the... what's this masquerade? This masquerade now that they do a lot in Ikorodu and Ekwe. Oro.
Those are not
they are traditions.
Ones.
They are not. They are horrible ones.
They're
women
horrible.
are not supposed to come out.
Yes.
But then you have your festival that they flog women as well. You see,
But
almost all of them are. Why?
It's all against women.
Kind of, but they're fun looking at and stuff like
One
that.
tradition that I love, I'm not Yoruba, but I always like when they dobale at the wedding. Like, I'm just like,
especially when the
yes.
guy is coming to bed.
Yes, like that. Not only beg. When my children came for my husband's 60th, and people didn't know they flew in, and my father-in-law was in the function at the function event place, and he didn't know that my boys came from abroad. And a lot of people in the room didn't realize they came. So they came, they went, changed. So they came into the function hall and they just went straight to their grandfather and just prostrated. And our very close friend, Ibo, who has known the children for forever, you know, since we were married, he's been our friend, so he knows the children. So he asked me, he says, how did you get these foreigners to be doing this. I said, I don't know how they don't do it for us, but they're not going to be in the room with the grandparents and not do it.
Yeah.
You know, so there are those kind of things that, and you're not forcing them. It's something they've realized that it's a sign of respect in their culture. And it's not harmful in any way. And they just did it. I can imagine how wonderful my father-in-law felt.
And
so,
well, you know what? I'm a Yoruba woman, and I don't like the fact that, well, maybe I have to accept that it's not all cultures that they are women kneel down. But you have to curtsy. I just feel it is so rude. Maybe because I'm Yoruba, you see someone older than you. If you have to curtsy. You can't just stand and say, hey, Auntie Adesowa, you just have to bend a bit, do something, just to show like.
This is how you shake.
Do you understand? Just
when you shake an elder, you do this. You hold the hand. It's like you're bowing.
Yeah.
So you're not like bending.
Yes.
I went to an Indian party recently, about 2 weekends ago. He's my neighbor. He's my neighbor, and I've known him for those years. And it was his birthday, and I'd never met the father. The father came. And then the father came to make a very short speech. And then he got up from his seat, exactly almost like, by the way they do this, he touches his father's shoes.
Yes,
He touched,
Did he touch his head with it?
No, with his hand, he touched his father's shoes. And then all the young people there also came out and touched the man's shoes. And I thought, we're not the only ones that dobale.
No.
So, but you see, the thing is, whatever it is we're doing, it can also become eye service. If it's for real, it's good.
Yes.
What Chisom said are key into that. When something is good, keep it going. When something is bad, tweak it as time goes on.
Tweak it, or she said get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Or you can even...
She says
tweak it.
Yeah.
So you see, this Egungun thing and all this Eyo, Oro, or Maung, you call it Maung, they are great. They are great things. They are great things that people can watch. So instead of saying they should be beating women, let them be beating sticks or trees.
In fact, they can tweak it. That's
where tweaking works.
It becomes a tourist attraction.
Exactly. Every Christmas in Calabar, they have the carnival where they have the masquerade parts where they come out and display. Then they also have a show that's usually on the 30th or 31st where all the ekpe and the masquerades come and people pay to watch. So it's also making money for them. They come and they do all the displays and everything's very beautiful and nobody's beaten or anything.
But we're not allowed to come out. Like
The
the females are not,
Yeah.
and they come to like our compound.
So
and
the
have
question
a
is,
good
all
time,
these
but they
female
don't allow
things,
us-
leave women alone, Joe.
Exactly. Let us come and enjoy
Leave women
the
alone.
thing.
They should stop because
Be
all this is
hiding.
power thing, everything.
So now that we've enjoyed ourselves with the good, can we just highlight what we would go around and we'll end with Adesowa. So let's start with you. Let's start with you and go this way.
What do you want to say, the bad or
Good.
the good? My good. I like
the bad. We've been enjoying ourselves with the
I
good.
need to mention this good that I want to keep.
Quickly.
You see that Calabar something?
Ekpe.
Yes. No, not Ekpe. You know, preparing the woman for marriage. We need to keep it. I like them to keep it.
What do you want us to get
What do
rid
you
of?
get rid of? Oh, FGM, breast flattening,
Okay.
and all that. They need to get rid of it.
Anything? Can you remember anything?
Yes, just down to like the masquerades and all the superpower about not letting women be there. They should scrap it. I want to watch them and dance with them and give them high five and jump, for being such beautiful gangster.
For me, it is any tradition that is precluding women from rights of enjoyment and rights of participation. I'd like them to be rid of.
Okay, I like that. Anything that women are not going to part of. But I also want to say that anything that is harmful, anything that will cause pain, anything that would be dangerous at the end of the day, if anybody participates in that sort of tradition, should be put away. But then if it's not harmful, it's not going to cost anything, then why not if not?
You said FGM. Not everybody knows.
Female genital mutilation. What some people call circumcision for women. Yes.
They use
Just for our listeners, so they know what. So,
like they said, whatever hurts, if it hurts somebody else, then don't do it. And, whatever the reason is, we didn't even give the example of these people in China or Japan that they tie people's feet so they don't grow.
You can, although it's not our culture, but you
No,
can.
but it's true. The thing is, so the point I'm making here is, anywhere in the world, there will always be something that you do, which is a power thing because you want to bring the other person down.
Yeah.
What we're saying here is, whatever the culture is, if it is negative most times around here is negative to the female, we're saying.
Yeah.
So we should begin to look at it again and say, hey, is it really right? And also the women themselves should also begin to look at it and say, look, maybe we should do it differently. Because at the end of the day, these widowhood practices are inculcated by women.
Yes, women are.
You know, this circumcision is inculcated by women. The fattening room by women. Everything that we do is women that make it happen. We are custodians.
Yes,
so we can begin to say, yes, we want to raise our girls to be good wives, but we also need to raise our boys to be good husbands.
Yes.
Yes, we want to be able to curtail our girls from being,
Promiscuous.
we should also curtail our boys from being. You know, let's do it both ways. You know, this culture, you know, so let's just remember that we are all human beings, equal dignity and equal rights. I think for me, that's what matters. But if it's good, keep it. If it's bad, throw it out, like Chisom said. Should we? Yes. Are we gone? We're good. So at this point in time, we will say bye. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. We can even talk about this continuously. The message is on screen where you can go join TW Conversations, whatever it is. Chisom knows. What is it?
At TW Conversations on Instagram.
Okay.
Yes.
So please go follow us.
Yes.
Follow us.
We'll follow you back.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Research has it that working with your spouse has an impact on your personal relationship, as some couples believe that working and building a business together has made their personal relationship much stronger, deepening their trust, appreciation, and making both the business and marriage more successful. But the question is it healthy for couples to work together? Well, we're about finding out from this couple, Andrea and Collins Teke, who do not only have the same career, but also work in the same organization and as well share office space. This is how these two on-air personalities resume their dream career jobs together every day.
Collins and Andrea Teke were renowned individual broadcasters before they fell in love and got married. Not a few people think that relationships are hard enough to deal with on their own, and when you throw working together into the mix, it can get even trickier. One interesting thing about the Tekes is how seamless the couple anchors the same show together, a first of its kind in Nigerian radio.
Lagos, Nigeria, we want to know how you're doing this morning. What is going on around your area? We want you to tell us and also scream, "What's up, Lagos?"
Yes! Yes! Just alive!
They didn't always work together. Collins used to run a production studio, and it was at work that he met Andrea.
I needed a female voice. The client demanded for a specific female voice that sounded a certain way. And explained it to one of my, staff or team members at the time. And he said, "No, I know this lady. This lady is, she has a great voice. She's fantastic. She's beautiful." So, the boss, you even like the babe self, that kind of thing. And I said, "Okay, let's hear." Before you know it, there was a phone call. Before you know it, and then, it was timely. She came into the studio working. She just stole the presence of the room, And I couldn't do anything. I didn't have anything in mind because at the time I was in another relationship.
What happens at home? Does Andrea take up the role of a traditional African wife and mom?
I'm blessed to have him. I'm not sure that I'll be able to meet up. I'm not sure that I would be able to meet up if he has not been the way he has been, that is being super supportive. I wake up in the morning and the first thing is to take care of my baby because we have a son together. The first thing is to take care of him, have his bath, prepare his meal, cook and, clean, have my own bath prepared, and then we come to work. But the good thing is he takes up the responsibility of bathing this boy in the morning. So he takes that off my duty, so to speak. Sometimes I do it while he cleans or dresses him up, and then I face the kitchen. So we share that responsibility. It's more like sharing the responsibility at home and also sharing the responsibility at work. So it makes it easy for me.
It's a situation of we are going to work together. Yeah. We have to leave at the same time. We meet at the same time. Get on time. And then do our show. We have to prep afterwards, do everything together. So I can't go back home and start saying, "Where's my food? Where's my food from where?" You understand? So we plan it together. Yeah. And I think that pushed me to also, rise to the occasion, which is something I would encourage, especially couples, whether or not you're working together, to rise to the occasion when your woman needs it the most.
Thank you. Spending time together may be good for their relationship, but this couple also faces challenges, especially in maintaining their individual identities.
People will call on the show and say, "Hey, Collins, tell your wife." And the wife is right there. They call and they greet him first before they greet me. Some don't even greet me. Some don't even regard that I am on the show with him. Yeah. So it dealt with me when we started initially, dealt with me mentally, dealt with me emotionally, because it felt like I am there, but still not there. Because, it took a while for people to recognize my presence, because at the end of the day, you are his wife. You are supposed to calm down when he's talking. You're supposed to be quiet when he's talking. And, this is my job. I was a broadcaster before I got married to him. Yeah. And so it is my job first. And that's what people took a while to embrace. It's still something I'm dealing with, and I think that people would gradually get used to it. There are no days that we don't have, times where we quarrel, times where he's on a different cloud, I'm on a different cloud, and we have to come on the radio and talk and make Lagos happy.
And do it. Kick a show.
And make Lagos happy. So it's actually challenging where you have to not let the world know that you're dealing with something and come on the air and be beautiful and be excited. We sometimes forget that we're having an issue, or there's a quarrel, or there's a misunderstanding, or there's one problem to deal with right on the show. Yeah. And after the show, we're out, we're giving ourselves, "Oh, that was a great show."
I don't know, right? But we're fighting. People tend to just make what they make out of the situation. So whatever you present is what you get. So before you know it, your individual brand starts sinking in the joint brand.
Sharing an office space requires this couple having as little time away from each other as possible, as nerves may become frayed.
We have to create the fun.
Exactly what I was
and
going to
make
say.
it a fun-filled. That's what we do.
That's what I hear. We create our
So,
fun.
go somewhere
When we're
alone.
tensed,
Yeah.
right, with
each
everything
other-
happening, we call it decluttering. We probably go to the beach side, nobody with us,
No
just the both of
phones.
us, no phones, nothing. And we are sitting discussing what is going on in our lives as
one after the
individuals and also as a couple. We just declutter. What I have been having in my mind that is building up to a resentment, I tell it to him. He also tells me we find a way to trash it out.
And it's a no judgment zone.
Yeah, we try not to
don't try to
judge each
defend,
other. We just say the way it is.
A number of private organizations don't allow their staff get romantically linked. Collins shares his view about this.
It's a world that is changing from, what it used to be, making laws just because you want to make laws, but doing it for the best interest, in the best interest of those involved. So it's a question of, the interest of those involved. I don't think it changes anything. If anything, couples working together has proven, at least in our own case, that it promotes bonding. It also promotes, in fact, I've been a better broadcaster, from the moment she joined me on radio, and even the listener could notice that. I've been a better person, individual, even at work, behaving myself, not doing anything. Because I mean, my family is here, I can't go around messing around, even if I'm that crazy guy, I have to, So the benefits are countless. So if, I don't know what the fears are, but I think I want to talk to organizations who have such policies. I think they should review it and give people the chance. I mean, there's nothing wrong for people to be in love and work together.
That's right. I agree with him.
The couple have advice for couples willing to work and build business together.
Once you can create a great atmosphere when you're together, when no one is looking at you, when there's no camera like this one, I'm sure you can replicate that easily when there's a camera. So, but if you do not have that great life and then you want to fake it in front of people and come in and say, oh, everything is fine, hey, it's a matter of time. The toxicity that's involved in it would show, and then it would affect the work.
The work, yeah.
So it all depends on the couple.
There would be challenges. There are things that you would experience that will make you feel like, no, I can't go on anymore. That's just the way marriage is. There are tough times that will make you feel like, yo, I cannot continue this. It's going to happen even with the business. But if you take it the way you take your marriage and say, regardless of this turbulence, regardless of the challenges, it has to work. We have to get it done. When you have that mentality, trust me, it might just come out beautiful.
From the office of the techers, we head to the home of another interesting couple that has been into automobile mechanics for many years. Wale and Taya Oshikoya have been married for 10 years and working together in repairing vehicles. This home doubles as one of their workshops in Lagos. Marrying Wale was a dream come true for Tayo.
This work started through my husband. Even when we were during courtship, he has been on the field. I was not on the field, but I love the job. So after we get married, I have to join him so that we can work in together, because it's what I've been willing to do for long. And I just love that job. I just love it because when I was small, it's my dad's field. So I used to assist my dad when I was in primary, secondary school. So to God be the glory, after my school and everything, getting married, God now gave me someone that I love and the field I love most.
Meet my wife, we married together, and I have to tell my wife that this is the kind of work that I'm doing. And I somebody that I love so much, and she loved the work. So when I say, well, I have to tell him to go and quit where he's working before. There's one company that she's working and is managing the company, and she agreed with me. She surrendered. She said, okay, she quit from there, and we joined the work together, and thank God for now.
The home of Oshikoyas is well managed, according to a lady mechanic, as Tayo is called.
My work did not disturb my home at all. Even we stay behind, maybe we close very late. My husband will tell me very early that you go home, children are home, they are off from school, go home. Then I'll come home, my husband will be doing the job. By the second day, early in the morning, we will go to balance up the job.
You say, Wale, I say, Ma, I say, this business, you have to go more forward now. I said, like how? Now you introduced me to one fashionable school in Ikorodu, automobile school, technology. So we went together. Take me to the school. I said, oh boy, okay. So I see some my junior brother that's even my age, my children age mates. I say, you see those ones I will sit down together in the class. I say, oh, no problem now. And I encourage myself because I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm going. I know where I'm coming from. I know where I'm going. So God give me I'll give God the glory. We'll sit down together, we'll write the exam, and then take me. So and I'll go there. He give me back school. He give me my shoe. Give me my everything uniform. I take it. I go to the school. I saw some of my age mates, of my class, of my children mates. We sit down together. I say, Papa, I say, how are you? I'm your Papa. Yes.
Personal and marital issue are not allowed to link into the workspace.
We both have our ups and downs, but it doesn't affect our business. Exactly. Our ups and downs is inside our room. Once we are in the same bed together, our ups and downs is off. It did not affect our work. Customer cannot even see it in my face. Rather than for me to now say that, no, it's someone I love. Why will I disturb his business or why will I disturb my business? If that thing shows in my work, that means our career is nothing.
Normally, as a woman being, as a flesh, we are flesh. Sometimes we fight, we quarrel each other. I told you that, go and do this work. We say, well, I'm tired, I'm tired. Which kind tired? My friend, you have to do it too. You also, I'm your boss. Say, okay. You know that I'm tired, I'm a woman now. I say, you have to do it because you love the job. You say, okay. And you do it. Sometimes, like last week now, I said him to go and do work in Ibadan. He say, only me. I say, yes, now. You go and face the work and you defend the work. And you go. Sometimes we'll quarrel, you fight, but you will say, I will hug him back because I know that he's woman. Says some things that I'll say, okay, come outside. Let me come and lose it for you. So we have to settle it back.
Wale and Tayo have had to endure side talks from people who think their line of profession is strange.
There's one man I used to work with him. He just called me and said, Wale, I said, sir. He said, why your wife used to follow you up and down? I said, sir, my wife is my colleagues. My wife is my partner for this business. If I want to take a boat now, or I want to do something, I want to buy this, I want to lose this, I will tell him, yeah, go and do this, go and do this. So since I've faced so many challenges on this work with my wife, but so far my wife, somebody like he make courage on the work and she determined on him. There's no how people can discourage him. Even you face so many challenges on mommy's side, on family side issue. They say, why you follow your husband? Why do you tell your husband to open a supermarket for you and do business and selling and do this? You say, Mom, that's your own time. This is my own time. This person, I love it and I love the job. So all the worry people say is raw. Sometimes they'll call me and say, Wale, why you don't get money to give your wife? I say, Mommy, it's not that I don't have money to give my wife, but my wife loves this job. So what? Say, okay, after some things, after so many years, they leave us.
If you are a dirty person from your home, you will surely be a dirty person. But if I'm going out now, wash my body, clean my hands, you won't believe that this person is a mechanic. I fix fingers as well. I do makeup if I'm going out. You won't even believe that I am a mechanic. That is why at times if we go to customers' house, before putting on my overall, they will say, you come with your wife. If they not say that, no, she's a mechanic, they will say, the women, they love to see me doing the job. They will say, Oga, go and sit down first. Let me see her, the way she's performing the whole things. Even if after everything, if the woman will not say, wow, woman does this one. If my workmanship is 2,000 naira, we say, oh, my dear, let me give her 5,000 naira because she encouraged me.
Sometimes I will tell them that, okay, today we want to go out, we don't do any work, we don't have any customers place today. We are going to dress, wear your dress, do your nails, do everything. I will take him out to go and enjoy ourselves.
As a woman, there is nothing hard if you have the determination. This thing, I want to lose it. It's almost the same thing the way we handle our husband and children at home. Any children that's very difficult, you know how to handle those children. That's why the work is.
See people that start before us, that is doing this business, that there is no more again. But we just give the God the glory because we achieved so many things on this work. And we thank God the kind of wife that is given to me. So we achieved so many things.
The work that you are doing, you can be able to train your children's school, and you can be able to cater for your home. Yeah, you can even have a shelter on your head, having your own car. What else someone needs on this earth? Nothing more.
They have also faced challenges working together as a mechanic couple.
If you have a space outside there, people see couples working together, we have more customers. But immediately you go outside there to make your own workshop, government will come and demolish it. It's a big challenge on us, even all mechanics. They see the work as a dirty work and they are going out on their daily basis with their cars. And of which, if the car eventually stopped on the road, they're still going to call we mechanics.
Wale and Tayo believe mono-career couples can emerge strong and fulfilled as long as their values align.
I encourage the people that want to do the business, want to do the work. They should focus on the thing that they want to do. Don't look down on yourself. Maybe you are too big, you are too do this. Just focus on it. And the couples that want to do the business, they have to have trust. Trust your wife. Let wife trust your husband. If you make money today, it's not that the money that you make today, you make sure that you finish all the money. You have to put half for savings or anything. Because like this job that we're doing now, we use some our money to run the business.
If you have passion, you have zeal for your husband's work, and you doesn't have anything doing, it's very advisable to join your husband once you don't have any skeleton, in quotes, in your cupboard. So you have every right to join your husband just to make the business grow.
Our findings point that some couple craft a way to thrive in love and work by understanding each transition and knowing what questions to ask and what traps to avoid.
Yes! Cheers to life!
I like rolling my strong this way. I call it strong. I call SK Popo. I call them strong because, as I said, it motivates me, it gives me energy, it makes me move. I'm addicted to Tramadol, Baba Blue. Everyone knows it as well. No, codeine, Benelin with codeine. Tramadol was given to me by my father. Him too, he didn't even know what it was. My name is Tunde Smith. I'm a drug addict, and well, I'm here to tell you my story about drugs. I started taking drugs when I was 20. I was this kind of child then that I was always trapped in my house. My dad didn't always allow me to go out, and my mom didn't always allow me to go out. So when I got out to the world after I finished secondary school, and I spent 1-2 years at home out of frustration, then I started going out, meeting people, and that was when I now found out about SK. And that's the street name outside. It got to a time that without it, I couldn't eat anymore. I was very, very much fatter than this, but I guess it's drugs that did this to me because I lost my appetite. I didn't know how, I didn't know how to get it first of all. It was always a friend that always bought it for me. So when he was not around, when he had to go to school, didn't even only me around, I had to wait for a while before I could find my way to get into the Zanga zone and get the drug, you understand? So it was very, very hard for me to to hold on to it, saying, okay, fine, I won't take this thing for a long period of time. But when I had the chance to take it, I took it excessively. I took it like there was no tomorrow. I took it like that was the last one that was on earth, just to make me feel good. I won't say I'm proud to say I'm a drug addict, but well, I guess I found myself here and I have to actually tell myself the truth. So yes, I am a drug addict. I steal money from my mom, I steal money from my dad. I just try my best to like get a shot of it a day at least. My curiosity always got the best of me when it came to drugs. So I moved on from just taking SK to taking other ones. And it got to a point in time I tuned into hard drugs. So I was taking all of them together. I would take Tramadol, I would take Ruchi, I would take all those kind of stuff. I would take them, you know, just like know what this does and what this does. You know, all those kind of drugs, they're very, very easy to get. All you can do is just go down to the pharmacy and just ask for it. You don't need prescriptions, you don't need anything. You just go there, you get it. Hard drugs like that, I call it hard because of what it does when you take a large amount of it, because the feeling it gives and everything like that. And it's so easy to get. It's like just to walk down the park and you get it so easy.
Psychologists receive phone calls day and night from addicts who want to give up drugs. Every 2 calls is about one particular medicine, Tramadol.
Parents shouldn't give their children medications containing the narcotics codeine or Tramadol.
Tramadol was given to me by my father. He too, he didn't even know what it was. When I don't take it, it makes me feel like the whole world is on top of me. It makes me feel like I am nothing. I'm about to go get some supplies, you know, talking about the usual stuff, everything, Tramadol, Pawpaw and stuff like that, you know. It's not an easy task getting these things and actually trying to get a video of it as well, but let's just pray that I don't get caught. But I just want to show how easy it is to get these things at no extra cost. Is quite easy. Okay, this is where I have to pass if I want to go get, you know, if I have to go get the stuff, you know. It's a very, very long way. It's a way and it's known to everyone. Everyone knows that if you want to get drugs, this is the place to be if you're in Lagos, especially this Yaba side. You can see the environment is a place whereby it's not conducive, you know. You can see everyone, no one knows I'm doing this. So, you know, if I'm being caught over here, if anyone should just suspect that I'm doing something like this, I'm screwed already. Like, I'm literally screwed because no, the police is not going to come here on time. This place is so deep inside the location that I'm going to this stuff. Before the police gets here, I would have been dead. It's so sure about it. This place that I'm about to enter now, I want to go get Tramadol. It's, as I said, it's just another shop, another pharmacy that you can just walk into and just get anything you want. Hello. Good afternoon. Do you have Tramadol? Yeah? 100 milligrams. Okay, let me have one then. I'm asking for her now if I could get Tramadol, and she says yes, she has it. I'm going to take 100 milligrams. That is about 5 pills. So I'm just going to wait for her and let her, you know, sell it to me. In the meantime, I'm showing you guys around the pharmacy, you know. As I said, it's all being done secretly, so no one knows I'm actually doing this. As you've seen right here, this view that you're looking at is what we call Zanga. This, as you can see right there at the far right corner, you see that you can see some guys sitting right there. I can't go down there because I'm not meant to do this kind of thing at all. If I'm caught doing this, that's it for me right there. But as you can see over there now, you can see those guys seated right there. Those are those people that like take drugs. They're always there. This is where you can do anything you want. In fact, this place that you're looking at right here, it's not even on the Lagos State map. this place doesn't exist at all. This place is like, it's meant to be a canal. There's a canal over there. That's where you see the bushes, right at this corner, after this house. There's a canal that passes through that side. So all this place is meant to be like a gutter, you know. But, you know, you can see houses everywhere. Everyone just trying to survive. Over this place that you're looking at, the guy that you're seeing over there, that's actually the dealer. Because he sees me standing here for so long, he's like wondering what's up. He wants to come and meet me, but I'm just like giving him the signals not to come yet, because I don't really want anybody to see me doing this. That's it for me. Tramadol, this is 250 milligrams of tramadol, just one pill. You have some people that take 2 sometimes when you really want to get high. Then this one is the normal one, the ones that you get like anywhere on the streets. Anywhere you go, you can just ask anyone and you get it. This is 100 milligrams. The normal dosage, any normal guy that takes trams, when they start, this is what they start with, because before you get to 250, you have to like start with 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams. You can't just get up to here, you just get messed up. Rochi. This is Rochi. This one you take, this is 100 milligrams. Yeah, this 100 milligrams, just one pill. Just one pill of this, and you're good to go. Having like the motivation to like come out and speak about this is because it wasn't easy for me as well. I had to like seek help from, you know, a doctor. When everything was going crazy for me, I had to like seek help medically, and they were the ones that gave me the motivation to like do what I'm doing here today. If there's anyone out there that it's into drugs and feeling depressed, and you just feel that okay, fine, you want to step out, but you don't know how to. It can be hard, but it all starts by that step. It all starts by you just going out there and just seeking help. No one is gonna like hunt you down. No one is gonna arrest you. It's just about you just coming out and just saying this is it. Because that was the step I took.
Slick City Empire.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
Good afternoon. I am Messi Bokbo. This is the news update. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared Biodun Oyebanji of the All Progressive Congress winner of the 2022 Ekiti governorship elections. Mr. Oyebanji polled a total of 187,057 votes to defeat his two closest challengers, Segun Oni of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and BC Kolawole of the People's Democratic Party. The SDP emerged in second place with a total of 82,211, while the PDP was third with 67,457 votes.
Obidoyin of party APGA scored a total of 376 votes. Fagbemi Peter Adegbero of party APM scored a total of 290 votes. Adeyinka Ali of party APP scored a total of 1,980 votes. Darabewale Oluroti Ajayi of party YPP scored a total of 618 votes. Adewolu Kolade Akeyemi of party ZLP scored a total of 282 votes. That Abiodun Abayomi Oyebanji of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected. Signed by the returning officer. Dated 19th day of June 2022.
Oyebanji is now set to replace incumbent Kayode Fayemi in October. Segun Oni campaign organization has rejected the outcome of Saturday's governorship elections, saying it is unacceptable. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had declared the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Mr. Biodun Oyebanji, as the winner of the elections. Oyebanji defeated the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Mr. Segun Oni, who scored 82,211, while candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. BC Kolawole, scored 67,457. But reacting to the outcome of the exercise, spokesman of the organization campaign, Mr. Moses Jolayemi, accused the APC of engaging in vote buying. He also accused security agencies of compromising during the elections. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the recently conducted governorship elections in Ekiti State, Otumba Olabisi Kolawole, has thanked the people of the state for their peaceful conduct during the exercise. He also thanked the PDP members and supporters who believed in him and the party. He commended the former governor of the state, Mr. Ayo Fayose, for his leadership and fatherly role. Kolawole placed third with 67,457 votes. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Biodun Oyebanji, over his electoral victory in Saturday's Ekiti State governorship elections. This was contained in a congratulatory message issued on Sunday by his special advisor on media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adeshina. The president said the victory was well-deserved considering Oyebanji's contribution to the development of the state and the party before he was nominated. The standard-bearer urging him, however, to be magnanimous in his victory in the interest of the people of the state. He charged all APC members across and outside the country to see this as a good omen for the 2023 general election and the work to ensure the party's victory by continuing the trend in Osun State next month. President Buhari also felicitated the people of Ekiti State for the smooth conduct of the election, affirming that they were the real visitors as they had been able to freely choose their leader for the next 4 years. The Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to prosecute all those involved in vote buying in the course of the Ekiti State governorship election. SERAP, in a short tweet on Saturday, said the prosecution must not end with those caught in the act, but must be extended to politicians who fund the election malpractice. The group's reaction trails news of vote buyers being arrested by the operative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Parading some of the suspects at the Oke-Orimo area of the division, the Nigerian police force. Authorities said the individuals were caught with monies allegedly used to induce voters, an act the EFCC officials say were carried out secretly. In a communiqué signed by its chairman, David Anyayili, the group, however, noted that it is impressed to observe that the marginalized populations, the aged and nursing mothers and pregnant women and persons with disabilities were offered priorities during the time of voting at the polling units. The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Lucky Rabo, has advised military retirees against being used by politicians to truncate the country's democracy, saying such move could lead to face-off between the military and the citizens. Addressing retirees who graduated from the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center, Oshodi, having completed mandatory vocational training, the CDS warned against complacency.
Transition to civil life after several years of service is a global practice in the military, and the Nigerian Armed Forces is no exception. And to ensure a seamless move back to civil life, the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center, Oshodi, Lagos, was established. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, enjoined the retiring graduates of the center to take advantage of the skills acquired to better their lives. He advised them to be prudent with their retirement benefits and invest wisely. He further warned them to resist the temptation of meddling in politics, as such move could destabilize the country's democracy.
I urge you to employ the various knowledge and skills you have acquired while undergoing the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center training for peaceful and productive economic life as you reintegrate into the Nigerian civil society. I encourage you to justify the magnanimity of the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, who has continued to support the armed forces, most especially the retiring members of the armed forces, as seen in the enhanced packages by maintaining your loyalty and dedication to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
316 graduates drawn from the Nigerian Army, Air Force, and the Navy were trained in various vocations for easy reintegration into civil life.
You have successfully completed this course amidst tight schedules, and this shows your commitment and discipline, which are all attributes you have acquired in the course of your active service to our dear nation. Let me emphasize that the trainee's retirement course is to reorientate and position you for a successful reintegration into civil life after a meritorious service to our dear country. It is our expectation that your graduation, the service, and this center will continue to get positive feedbacks as you gallantly soar through the post-service life. Be bold and courageous. Remain disciplined and focused. The sky certainly is your beginning.
It is expected that with the acquisition of needed skills, the retirees will lead productive lives in their post-service years. Destiny Momo, Plus TV News.
And to other parts of Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo does not want Rwanda in the possible regional force on its soil. This is a message from King Shasha to the British Prime Minister ahead of Commonwealth Summit in Kigali. In a statement, the Congolese government accused Rwanda of years making a rare trip outside Kyiv, where he's based for security reasons. Zelensky traveled to hold out Black Sea city of Mykolaiv and visited troops nearby in the neighboring Odessa region for the first time since Russian invasion. Russian forces have directed their firepower at the east and south of Ukraine in recent weeks since failing in their bid to take the capital Kyiv after the lightning February 24th invasion. And in business news, Bitcoin plunged below $20,000, shedding 9% from the previous day to fall to $18,740 in its lowest level since December 13, 2020. With investors increasingly wary of risks, the world's most popular crypto asset has lost more than 72% of its value since reaching a high of $68,991 on November the 10th, 2021. Cryptocurrency have paid the biggest price. And in entertainment news, veteran rapper and superstar Ice Prince has announced that he will be releasing his first single of 2022 on the 22nd of June, featuring Sheyi Vibes and Caesar Millie. Ice Prince has been in the music industry over a decade, and he was able to achieve his huge success with his debut album, Everybody Loves Ice Prince. And in sports news, Nigeria's Tobi Amosun has broken the African record after clocking 12.41 seconds in the 100 meters women's hurdle. Amosun broke her own record with her third best run of the season at the Diamond League meet in Paris, France on Saturday. During the Paris Diamond League, Amosun blazed to victory with a time 12.41 seconds that moved her up to a third in the world in 2022, only behind the world leader Jasmine Camacho-Quinn, 12.37 seconds. She won the Diamond League in Zurich in September 2021, where is also set a sensational African record and personal best of 12.42 seconds. The 2018 Commonwealth Games gold medalist narrowly missed out on a podium finish at the Olympics after placing fourth behind the Puerto Rico's Jasmine. The U.S. Kendrella Harrison and the tapper has been involved in her 4 race after. And that's the news update. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Ebokpo.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games, Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment on winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Nigerian female artists have shown growth and made a remarkable impact in their music careers. The process of thriving, staying relevant, and consistent with music hits in the Nigerian industry that is so competitive is not as easy as these female artists make them seem. The following artists, in no particular order, have worked hard for their career success, which in turn has then made them top favorites. First off on the list is Tiwa Savage. Tiwa Savage, also known as Mommy Jam Jam, was already a major success by the time her debut Once Upon a Time arrived in 2013. She continued releasing hits throughout the following decade and expanded her global reach, performing at international festivals and venues and appearing on the 2019 soundtrack The Lion King: The Gift. With releases like her 2020 Cecilia and of course the latest 2021 Water and Gary EP, her sound grew to incorporate vintage Afrobeat influences, while her lyrics have become more socially conscious and female empowering. I mean, people can't seem to get enough of her most recent 2021 music hits featuring iconic American female artist Brandy, titled Somebody's Son.
Somebody's son, go find me one day. I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. One day, somebody's son, go love me one day. I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. One day,
Coming in at number 2 on the list is Mama Africa, as Yemi Alade is popularly known, which obviously can be argued was derived from her flamboyant display of African fashion she has consistently stuck to throughout her career. I mean, in 2016, she was named brand ambassador for African Fashion Week Nigeria and African Fashion Week London, respectively. But away from fashion, she is a Nigerian Afro-pop singer and songwriter who emerged in 2009 as the winner of the popular Pig Talent Show. After the Pig competition, she released her debut single Fimisile later that year. A deal with the Efizi Music Group yielded the 2013 international massive hit song Johnny. With over 138 million views on YouTube alone and counting, which was included on her debut album King of Queens in 2014. A mix of reggae, R&B, rap and Afropop, the album featured a number of collaborations between notable producers and guest artists like Fino and of course Chidima. Her follow-up album Mama Africa was released in 2016 and featured the singles Do As I Do and Ferrari. A companion EP, Mama Afrique, followed in 2017, and to be very honest, she has not slowed down ever since in her music journey of conquering Africa with her indigenous sound till this very moment.
When my money no dey complete, when my rising no get me so, when my life no dey jolly, but now.
Number 3 is Tenny. Nigerian singer and songwriter Tenny is known for uplifting, stylistically eclectic songs that stand apart from her Afropop contemporaries. She first came into prominence in 2018 when a series of songs, including Case, found a streaming audience numbering in the millions. Her debut EP, Billionaire, followed in 2019. She signed with Magic Finger Records to release her first song, Amen, in 2016. Moving to Dr. Dollar's Entertainment in the following year, her second track, Virgin, found a broader audience, and the year 2018 brought mainstream hits like Case and, of course, the very likable Uyomeyo. She presented her first EP, Billionaire, in 2019 and was nominated for a BET Awards for Best New International Act and an MTV Europe Music Award for Best African Act. Still with Dr. Dollar, Tenny teamed up with DJ Neptune on the next year's The Quarantine Playlist EP.
Wanna make love on the moon, dancing to my tunes. Is it too much? It's not too much. I wanna be on fourth list if wishes were horses. Is it too much? It's not too much.
Coming in as number 4, Tems is a Nigerian Alte R&B singer, songwriter, and record producer. She is what you can refer to as the new kid on the block, but with a massive success. Since 2018, local hits like Mr. Rebel, Try Me, and of course the striking EP for Broken Ears have earned her prominence from within Nigeria's Alte scene, alternative music and fashion subculture that has both chaffed against and filtered with the mainstream. Now, the stunning global 1 in a Million blow-up Rich of Essence featuring Wizkid has been nothing but transformative for Tems' career. Tems also appeared on Certified Lover Boy, the Drake album. Yes, the American rapper Drake. Tems featured on Drake's album that has topped the US and UK charts this month on the song Fountains.
I don't know why you're the one. Turn me out of my mind. You don't need no other body. You don't need no other body.
And finally, coming as number 5 is Simi. Simi is an award-winning Nigerian female music artist with years of experience under her belt. Her professional music career started in 2008 following the release of her first debut studio album titled Ogaju in 2008, which contains songs like Iya Temi and Araele, with the entire musical production from Sam Clef. In 2016, Simi released an EP with Fowls titled Chemistry and followed it up in September of 2017 with her very own sophomore album Simi Sola, which was a hit, making it at number 5 on Billboard World Music Charts.
The album also debuted at number 1 on both Apple Music and iTunes charts and held that position for 3 weeks.
Apart from staying steady on her game as a singer and songwriter, she can also be credited with mixing and mastering her now husband Adekunle Gold's debut studio album, Gold.
Shall we get assignment? But you no pay attention to the intimidation she dey face. No be like water. You no get
At least your treacherous body would have been manure for the motherland. Listen to the words of a corpse. You cannot win this war.
My production career started off practically by some form of divine intervention. I work in TV production, and I've done that in advertising for over 20 years. I do storytelling as well. I do narrative. I've done films, TV series, etc. I taught myself to draw, and that meant 4 hours of sketching every day, minutely competent. Where people will say this doesn't suck. You actually had to practice. For God's sakes, Emeka, we don't even have enough guns or food. What were you thinking? If you
and Uzogo had not unleashed your unique brand of madness last January, we wouldn't be swimming in prayers and blood. It was a revolution!
I was with one of my uncles, and he got me a job in, then it was Vanguard newspapers in Apapa. And I got to meet all my heroes because in those days, I knew every cartoonist of every Nigerian publication by name because I would always look for the signature. Advertising was obviously the way to go. English then, if you're doing English, you're either going to be a teacher or something. I was like, no, this is a cool industry. This industry is really cool. It's really being paid to be creative. I was sent around the agency to learn every aspect of advertising. And when I got to TV production, the then head of TV production of SO and U, then Mr. Greg Odutayo, said to me, okay, I want him. So he just made a request. There are many highlights. I've won awards for films I've made, TV series I've done. But let me just jump forward. The most recent thing I've done I'm extremely proud of is being one of the 3 directors on MTV Sugar, Niger. And you have to learn. So when I came into production, I was always asking questions. So I was on a quest to know why this visual image was better than this visual image. And that got me into studying and learning about production. It helps to be always focused on what will make you win. There's a very healthy sense of motivating yourself to always get things right. Make sure your work is up to standard. It resembles anything else across any other platform across the world. The second thing is it must have your identity. It must have your strong cultural identity.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Hello and welcome to Tea Time Roundup on Plus TV Africa, where the biggest stories live. I'm here to inform, educate, and entertain you with updates from the past week of fun-packed entertainment discussions from your favorite celebrities. Please do stay tuned. You absolutely do not want to miss this. It's your favorite girl, Belema. Let go. First up, Black Bones has insisted he dropped the best album in 2021. Do you think so, though?
Actress Mercy Aigbe has given reasons why she fought businesswomen in public. That was some gbas. Wandeko and his crew have been called out for alleged assaults. Ouch. Enjoy, we'll be right back. Black Bones. Okay, Black Bones is trending right now. Black Bones took to his Twitter account to restate that he dropped the best album of 2021. The rapper admitted that his hit song played a big part in the commercial success and acclaim of any album, but that doesn't take away from the fact that his 2021 album, Sex Over Love, was the best album of 2021. The Blink's crooner further said that nobody changed the direction of music as he did, thereby claiming he charted a new course for Afrobeat's soundscape. Black Bones then conceded that since his hit songs are the primary metric for measuring success, he is ready to play. Okay, Black Bones is just a big character and he's such a very, very jovial person. But with his claims now that his album, Sex Over Love, was the best in 2020. 2021 had some good albums. Yep. And with him saying this now, do you think he's just trying to stir up some
conversations, yeah,
about
controversies.
Controversies.
See, whoever takes Black Bones serious when it comes to his statements on social media, nah, you need to check yourself, because here is him. Black Bones is more of the cruise guy. He's more of the cruise and the vibes. He's more like, hey, look, I remember there was this one interview I had with Black Bones, and he told me like, yo, he's trying to bring up people like Wizkid and Davido. He's trying to bring them to the limelight. And for like a second, I'm like, wait, take that again. And he was serious. I'm like, yes. I made people like Wizkid, even Tiwa is like I'm teaching her a song. I'm like,
that guy is just a cruise.
So he's just a cruise master. And but we can't take it away from him though. He's super talented. He's been able to cross through at least 3 genres now I've been watching. I knew him as a rapper. From a rapper, he started singing. From singing, and now he's got this mad Afro trap. Go Home. Have you listened to it?
No.
It's crazy, and I'm like, yo, it's more like a follow-up, a sequel to the Commander track.
I love Commander.
You know the Commander track, he was saying stuff like, you know, when I take it to my room, it go boom, boom, boom. Then the next track was Go Home, Go Home, Go Home. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so after, so you thought I had to go home, right?
After the Commander has done his
you understand, like, okay, it's time to go home. Salutes.
Yeah, okay.
But he's a great artist, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like Nigeria in Africa, like Nigeria is one of the countries in Africa that you know has produced one of the greatest and biggest stars internationally. Because if you look at the music industry now globally, there are so many.